Hello and welcome to Video Game Hangover. I'm Randy Dickinson. I'm in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
And me, Nikki, from everybody's favorite fashion sensation, Infinity Nikki. No, it's me. It's DJ in Mountain View. Oh, so disappointing.
Did you just have like a pink wig like at the ready?
Well, you don't have like just a selection of wigs ready to go?
No, I don't have a closet full of wigs. I have all this luxurious hair. Why would you cover this up?
Hey, come on. No, I may... No, this was a recent acquisition.
Yeah.
I've never had a wig before.
Yeah. I've worn them a few times for like Halloween costumes, and they are always terrible.
Yeah, it's, well, I mean, there's plenty of time for me to figure out the sort of ramifications of this. But, yeah, we'll see. So far, it's a unique experience.
Yeah. That looks like a not terrible one, honestly. You must have spent some money on that.
It's not expensive. But I thought it was appropriate, considering everything going on.
You look like, Steve. Do you know who Steve Aoki is? The DJ?
Yes.
Yes. You definitely have a Steve Aoki vibe with the long hair.
Oh, good.
Glasses, facial hair. Yeah, I think you're definitely a world-famous disc jockey.
That's what I want, yeah. Some might say I was already.
They could let you into... Yeah, well, yes, yeah. You are a world-famous DJ.
Yes, yeah. I was looking at this because there are lots of wigs you can buy online, it turns out. And I was like, oh, this one looks nice. Just think of how good this is going to look. And then I put it on, and I was like, oh yeah, I've got all this facial hair and all this other weird stuff going on. Doesn't look quite as nice as it did in the pictures. But Here we are. I
can only hope there is someone going through channels on Twitch right now who is like, oh, is this a drag show?
Well, so I was thinking, I was just like, just imagine the Twitch thumbnail.
Welcome to Drag Brunch with Randy and DJ.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Maybe that's our 2025 plan.
Sure.
Brunch podcast.
We're going to find our niche. After 700 episodes, finally settled into what our niche is. Yeah.
Oh, man. We're recording this, right? Yeah. So, yeah, everything's still working.
I hope so.
That's good. Yeah. Oh, man.
But anyways,
in case it wasn't clear, or why don't you explain to the listeners at home, in case they're not watching the stream?
Right. There is an audio component of this for people who cannot see the screen that I see right now. And DJ is wearing a long, pink, luxurious wig.
Thank you for adding the luxurious. That's key.
Yeah.
Even when I had hair, I never had hair this long. So.
And now DJ will show boob on chat.
Oh, well, hold on. Wait for the second half.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I didn't mean to sort of like ruin the ending.
Also, we have to not get kicked off Twitch.
Yeah. I'm going to put a link to your OnlyFans.
Yeah. Stay tuned for that.
This Monday, we were streaming Infinity Nikki. Well, DJ was streaming Infinity Nikki, and I was rolling my eyes.
It's very different from what's currently happening.
Yeah, yes. I'm nothing but acceptance here. I'm so proud that you chose me for this moment, DJ. But yada, yada.
It's a safe space.
Yeah, this is a safe space. Absolutely. We are inclusive. I am an ally. But yeah. So DJ the game has really resonated with DJ apparently, and
I'm into it. Yeah.
Yep. Between now and Monday, he's growing his hair out and dyed it pink.
Yes, I was working very hard. It's a long week.
Minoxidil is a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
You may be using too much.
Yeah, I gotta cut myself off. Gotta tone it down a bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, Infinity Nikki, you clearly it connected with you. It resonated with you in some way. You've had a good time with it.
Pretty good. Yeah, I'm enjoying it quite a bit.
TJ sprung it on me about an hour before we went live on Monday with our stream. It was like, how about this game? And I'm like, I think I've heard of this. I think I vaguely recall seeing the trailer for this. It's like a what you call it? An anime lady who tries on clothes or something like that.
Yeah. She's a stylist, excuse me.
Is that what it is? A stylist?
Yeah.
But she's also the model.
Yes, she is. Yeah.
Yeah.
She has many models, it turns out, which is kind of unsettling.
There's an infinite number of Nikki's.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Now it's all making sense.
Yeah, that's enough of
that. That's it. That's all.
That's all you need to know. It's free to play if you're curious. You want to run around and try on different clothes and get roped into a gacha pyramid scheme.
Haven't done too much of the gacha yet, or actually, except for the one that they make you do, haven't really gotten into it. But there's still time for that.
Just running around doing stuff.
Yeah, riding a bicycle, catching bugs.
Nice.
All that good stuff. Anyway, what are we doing here, though? What's going on right here?
This is, what are we doing? On every episode of Video Game Hangover, we talk about the games that have been keeping us up at night. Is that how it goes? Except for this week, we're wrapping up our 100th season of recording podcasts by doing the annual Drunktacular episode, where we take your calls and questions and emails and tweets and texts and have some adult beverages and just, shoot the shit.
Yeah. Kind of a little way to wrap up the year. So almost the end of 2024. So time to bid farewell with whatever this is.
Yes. And whatever sort of fresh hell 2025 presents to us.
It'll be fine. It'll mostly be fine.
I appreciate your optimism.
Gotta stay optimistic.
It is not going to be okay for you to wear that wig, let me tell you.
That's probably more true than it is false.
Yes. This is the final drag brunch, by the way.
The first and last. So
first and last, yeah. Because
thank you for tuning in.
But anyways, we won't go down that road. There's plenty of that content on the internet. You don't need it from us.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So I'm just going to
mix
be
up the format a little bit this year. We went at bi-weekly, and we are recording sort of like 26 episodes a year ish, rather than 52 ish. And doing a little more streaming than we've ever done before.
Yeah, a lot more.
It's 26 times as much streaming as we've ever done before. But that's not true. You stream periodically. I do it once a year. So, yeah.
I got my Twitch wrap up, like the end of the year thing, and it said I streamed 8 times last year.
Oh. Wow.
And that includes whatever we did for Extra Life. So, still, single digits, but yeah, we did a lot of streaming here, though, for the show.
Yes. Yeah. I guess I would say you've done way more than 8, but you've done a lot of that on the VG Hangover channel.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. 8 times I was just I don't know what was going on. I was just playing Dragon Quest or something.
All of those were in October when you were playing spooky games.
A lot of them probably were. Yeah, that's probably another at least like 4 or 5. So I don't know what the remaining like 1 or 2 random streams were.
Just midday Infinity Nikki streams.
Maybe soon. Maybe that's all I do from now on.
Yeah. Well, that's a thing, right? People play like one game professionally.
They are just like the X streamer. They're like a Fortnite streamer, or they're a Minecraft streamer, or they're
as opposed to a variety streamer.
Yes, exactly. Look at you go with all the terminology after a year of streaming.
I work with young people.
Okay.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, you like video games? Word vomit. And I don't know any of it.
Yeah. They're probably talking about something you play on your phone.
Yeah. Oh, he's a Drip Troop star on Floop Flap. I'm like, oh.
He's a Floop Flap star.
On Drip Trap.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's about what it sounds like.
Yeah. That's, a lot of the time that's what I get.
So we're going to take a little break. We'll be back in early 2025 with our favorite games of the year episode. This is usually how we start our fresh season in January. But for now, we're kind of wrapping this thing up with the aforementioned Drunktacular. DV, what are you imbibing this year?
So last year I did like a sake flight, or not even a flight, just sake. And I was like, it was kind of novel last year because I don't usually drink a lot of sake, but I felt like it went pretty well. I was feeling pretty good afterward. So I'm just going to do that again. I'm going to keep it rolling. And I'm excited about this year's bottle. I'm going to hold up something for the stream viewers because it's got this lovely little octopus thing on the bottle.
Oh, I thought it was Cubert.
It could be Cubert. Yeah, if you didn't see the light. Look,
there you go.
It's Cubert. No,
that's Cubert. No, it's an octopus.
Cubert. Yeah. Octopus. Okay. But anyway, I like this bottle. I've never had this brand. I'm not an expert in sake by any means, but sometimes it pays to have an interesting label. Oh, sure. Actually, many times it pays to have an interesting label. Let's be honest.
All of my wine choices are because they have a cool label.
Yes, pretty much. I'm like, which one of these looks the most interesting? I don't know.
Which one is under $15 and has a nice label?
Yes. Oh man, what have you got on your end?
I got a couple beers this year, a couple of good ones. This is Powder Hollow Brewery. This is a brewery in Connecticut, near my hometown where I grew up. My parents visited not too long ago and brought me some beers.
Oh, nice.
So this is a lovely winter pilsner from Powder Hollow.
That sounds good.
Yeah. And then I have a second fun thing that I will share a little bit later.
Oh.
Yeah. It's nothing like it's another beer. It's just a beer.
Oh man. Okay. Yeah. I thought there was going to be like,
don't get too excited.
Something weird about this one.
I've prepared this heroin for the final episode.
Yeah. Oh God. We haven't had that happen yet. Luckily,
I've secured this crack rock. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. From a small lab downtown.
Yeah.
This is local. It was made within 50 miles of me.
Back in a trailer park somewhere.
Right. Yeah.
We should say hello because we're on Twitch. Say hello to everybody in the chat. We've got Eshian. I think Eshian actually left, but he'll be back supposedly. We got Creed. We got Backlog Bum, who is actually Russ Greeno using an alias. Yeah. But hello to everybody in chat. Thank you so much for joining. And Obi Hyde. Obi Hyde, glad you could make it.
Nice.
The gang's all here.
Drunktacular without Obi Hyde.
That's right. Did we miss some questions already? We've got some. It says, "Good luck, guys. Can't stay for the whole show. It's 2 a.m. here. Let's Russ over in England." Ooh. Thank you so much for joining in and for staying up.
Yeah.
See, a lot of discussion about the wig. Yeah, it's a big departure from my usual blonde wig. Russ also asked, "What's behind the screen on DJ's side? Bedroom, kitchen, or murder room?" It's actually just my living room. But for these streams, I put up these screens, these sort of like paper screens, because it's more appealing than what the rest of my living room looks like, I think. Murder room is somewhere else in my apartment. Then Green Captain is here. Welcome, Green Captain. You lost track of time, but actually you're just in time.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
So...
should we, do you want to spend an hour talking about the Game Awards, or would you rather do questions?
Oh my God. This is like, somehow, this, so before we get any further, I just want to say cheers.
Cheers.
And here's to another year of shows. It was amazing. Another year of shows and streams, actually. So, I was going to say, for some reason, I mean, it's just how these things work out. It always seems to fall on the same week as the Game Awards. Which is like my least favorite thing. I don't know if we usually talk about them. Did you want to talk about the Game Awards?
Not at all. No, it's fine. I'm good.
Did you want to not talk about the Game Awards?
That was it. Yeah, I would prefer not to talk about the Game Awards. I mean, I like the game that won Game of the Year, but I also don't know if I necessarily agree that like every game I liked this year got nominated for things. So
I have a lot of thoughts about the Game Awards, but I would much rather go to people's calls and questions. Yeah.
Congratulations, though. We won the Game Award for Best Video Game Podcast.
Yeah, that was a big surprise. I didn't even realize we were nominated. But,
and here's Jeff Keighley right here. I just pulled him in. Yeah. He's actually standing right over there. He's got a sign that says "Wrap it up."
Yes, exactly. Oh, that guy. Oh. Oh man, yeah. Okay, so moving on from the Game Awards.
Moving on to the questions. Let's see. We've got a lovely assortment of questions from the community this evening. We will start with an anonymous question from somewhere in our universe here. It says, "Do you have any gaming superstitions or habits/rituals? Any non-gaming superstitions?"
Okay, I have a confession.
Yeah.
This is actually from me. This is my question.
Oh, you're the quiz. Okay. Well, it's no longer anonymous.
Because it's not only the Drunktacular, it's the first ever Friday the 13th, the Drunktacular.
Oh.
So I was like, we need to incorporate that somehow. So I was like, I don't know, gaming superstitions, I guess that could be a thing.
I don't know. Do I have any gaming superstitions? I don't know.
No, nothing off the top of your head.
I mean, I used. Yeah, I mean, like some of the usual stuff where, is it a superstition? Like, I'm afraid to use everything in my inventory because I think I might need it later, and then I don't need it and don't use it, and finish the game with like 100 healing flowers or whatever. That's a superstition, right? Kind of.
I don't know if that's like a superstition. What defines a superstition? Does it have to like make sense? Because that just sounds like you're being like a rational person.
Yeah,
you're just preparing for hard times ahead.
Superstitions are supposed to be irrational, right? Or illogical, anyways, right?
Maybe I feel like it's like,
is that a defining step on a crack, break your brother's back? That's the
like walking under a ladder. Friday the 13th in general,
right? Superstitious days, haunted numbers, that kinds of things.
Yeah.
I don't know. In general, not a superstitious person, I don't think. The company I work for opens locations in a lot of like old rehabbed buildings. One of the buildings that we're in is a bank from the 1920s that sat empty since the 90s, and we rehabbed it and opened a business in it again. But like everybody on the staff and literally every customer that comes through the door goes, "Oh, I bet you this place is haunted."
Because it was a bank?
Because it sat empty for a long time and it was decrepit and kind of falling in on itself, and it's just it has a history of being a spooky place. And the staff even was like, "Oh, I don't like being here at night. I don't like to be the one who closes or is the last one here because it's creepy. I've seen a ghost. Things move. Things fall off of shelves, et cetera, et cetera." And there's no part of me that buys any of it. I've never had an experience like that. In general, when I see those kinds of things like on reality television or whatever, I think those people are batty.
You haven't witnessed the ghost yourself firsthand?
No, I've not seen the old bank ghost or whatever. No. But I also, I'm not a religious person. So there's like a belief in sort of otherness that I don't necessarily subscribe to, I don't think.
Okay. I was going to say like probably still believe in ghosts if you're not religious, but I see what you mean. Just like the existence of supernatural beings or something.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just gonna.
I mean, like, where's the limit? It's an old George Carlin bit that's sort of like, people who believe in angels. I'm like, what's next? Goblins? And
vampires.
Yeah, exactly. So where do you draw the line? I don't know. Those like what you call it, Ghost Hunter international TV shows are ludicrous. I think that's just
not
like. Yeah, like people who can like commune with the dead. I think those are con artists. Those are people like exploiting sad people for money. And I think that's horrible. So yeah, there's no part of me, maybe that makes me a bummer, but there's no part of me that sort of like goes with the flow when it comes to like supernatural things, which is crazy because I love horror movies and I love, scary blood dripping down the walls kind of stuff. But
I don't think that makes you crazy.
I guess it's a bit of a
like
contradiction.
you enjoy all things because it's like entertainment.
Yeah,
it's like totally. It's like somebody who's a big Marvel fan, but like, no, I don't think superheroes are real.
Now, I think aliens are real. I believe in that. Not like Sigourney Weaver aliens, but like definitely
just life
out
elsewhere.
There.
Yeah. I think I'm with you on that. Yeah,
that seems logical to me.
Yes, very very logical, Captain. All right, wow, getting much deeper with this question than I was expecting.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of superstitions in general. not even like gaming superstitions, really. So I don't know. I wish I had a better answer for my own question. I think the closest thing to a superstition that I would have is if I start a new round of Tetris and it's like S pieces or Z pieces only, I just like shut it down. Just restart, get a new board. But that's not even really a superstition. That's just like I don't want to deal with those pieces because they're annoying.
Do you have like with your favorite series, because you clearly like Final Fantasy games and Dragon Quest games and I guess those are probably the two series I most associate you with. Do you have rituals around new ones coming out? Do you have to like, I get it at midnight on the day of, I have to wear my favorite red shirt when I play it the first time, et cetera, et cetera.
They were my favorite wig.
My favorite big wig. No.
I mean, I guess I do. So like whenever a 14 expansion comes out, it's like a big deal. But I think it's very different from the midnight launches of like yesteryear. Because first of all, I don't stay up till midnight for it, even that's technically when the game comes back online. But usually I'll take the day off. I'll go out and like grab an early like breakfast or a coffee or something and just come back and just get into it all day. But I guess that's kind of a ritual. Yeah, I don't do that all the time.
Yeah. You're celebrating a holiday.
Yes, exactly. Oh, man.
Nice. All right. That counts.
Okay. I'll work on those superstitions so I can have a better answer for next year.
Many years ago, question number 1 from Russ. Number 2, I guess. Many years ago, I was watching a YouTube channel that I regularly tuned into and heard my feedback being read out loud by the host. Exciting enough, you would think, but what made it even more interesting for me was at the end of the comment, the host then unknowingly read out my PayPal password. I must have accidentally pasted it into the message that I sent them. My question for you is, have you ever unknowingly revealed something secret by accident?
And would you reveal again here on live
right? Have I ever revealed something secret by accident? I don't think so.
Yeah.
Nothing
Feels very careful.
I don't know. I don't know that I necessarily have a lot of secrets. I don't think like I'm not that interesting a person. I don't know.
You've never revealed someone else's secrets either?
I've definitely done that. Yes.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, just being unguarded about information that I know should be sensitive. And I start blabbing, and I have a tendency to like want to be funny and want to be included. And my nervous default is motor mouth. So yeah, sometimes I can imagine situations in the past where I've accidentally said something I shouldn't say. I was like, oh, forget that, scratch that, rewind it.
You just play it cool, be like, act like it wasn't a big deal, what you said.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was just a hypothetical. That's just an example.
Yes.
That's not, yeah.
I took this question as like kind of in two ways where like in the first part, Russ is revealing his own PayPal password by accident, which is unfortunate. But then the YouTube host then reveals his password to everybody watching the video. So I was like, well, have I revealed any of my own secrets by mistake? I don't think so. Have I revealed anyone else's? Also, no. So, again, not a very interesting answer. But I tend to be very, like, I try not to share information about other people, no matter how sort of, like, inconsequential it seems, because you never know.
Yeah.
I treat everything...
Never struck me as a gossip, DJ. I've never gotten...
Oh, no. Yeah. I'm not really a gossip. If somebody I like treat everything somebody tells me as if they're telling me in confidence. So...
I have one, actually.
Oh, all right. Here we go.
My last phone was a folding phone. I had the screen in the middle, it opened up into a big, and coworkers wanted to see it. Like, oh, cool, I've never seen one of those before. Can I check out your phone? And I would fold it open and show the big screen inside. And what I forgot was that I have a widget on the little desktop on my phone that shows my bank account balance.
Ooh.
And not that it's like anything embarrassing or like anything I'm necessarily proud of, but like it's weird to show that to your coworkers. So the first time I folded it open and it said, your checking account is this and your savings So I was like, oh, if I'm going to show people my phone, that probably shouldn't be there. Yeah, that's all.
That actually just reminded me of something, not quite, well, something similar. So let me share a bit about myself. I recently quit my job, and I had this like all planned out. Scandalous, I know. I'm going to become a full-time Infinity Nikki streamer. But I had this on my calendar because I was like, I want to make sure I'm leaving at a specific point. I'm going to put in my 2 weeks notice at a specific point. So I actually had it on my calendar as an event, give notice. And then at one point before that, I took out my phone to show something, I was trying to schedule something with coworkers at a work event. And I pulled out my phone and there was the big box at the top of the calendar that said, give notice. And I was like, oh, quickly swiped away from that. It was like, nobody saw that. And fortunately, nobody did, or they didn't care, or they didn't realize what was going on. But at that point, I was like, maybe I should not have that on the calendar.
Yeah. I've done calendar mistakes. Now that I think about it, I've revealed information. Yeah. No, I've done my last job. I had an hour blocked off on my Outlook calendar to interview with another company. Forgetting that everybody on my team could see each other's calendars.
No.
Unless you mark it private. So I wrote, interview and had a Zoom link and stuff like that on it. And one of my coworkers was like, you might want to mark that private.
Thank you. Good looking out.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. That's just stupid technology mistakes, though.
Yes. Yeah, you got to be real careful about everything that goes out on the internet these days.
Yeah.
Speaking of everything that goes out on the internet, a question from Eshian, who asks, what do you think the drones in New Jersey are? Are they aliens? Are they video game hype? Are they military? Do you know about the New Jersey drones? Have you been following this?
I've not been following it, no.
You don't know anything about this?
I think I've read the headline, but I don't know any of the details.
Okay. I know somewhat about it, but a lot of my knowledge comes from Twitter threads, which is not always the most reputable source of information. But anyway, the deal is, from what I understand, in the year 2024, in November and December, towards the end of the year, there have been these, what people are calling drones, in, I think, so far just the flying around at night around New Jersey. And at first they look like planes with the red and green lights on them, but they fly around in ways that make people think they're actually drones. Again, all of this information is now coming from Twitter threads, so interpret this as you will. But they're not broadcasting the sort of FAA required identification signals or whatever, however that works, or they're flying over restricted airspace, or they're drones disguised to look like planes. And this has been going on for a few weeks, and people don't really understand what they are. There have been press conferences where New Jersey government spokespeople have addressed it, even although it sounds like they are not totally clear on what is going on either.
Oh, interesting.
So it's kind of a fun conspiracy theory. It does seem a little unusual. I don't really know what to make of it at this point.
Yeah. I like when mysterious things happen in the universe. Do you remember back in 2020 when there were the weird obelisks kept appearing? In the desert and stuff like that?
Was there more than one of those?
Yeah, there's quite a few of them. There was one recently. There was one this year that showed up somewhere in the middle of a...
And that didn't turn out to just be an art project or something?
I don't know if anybody claimed those. I'm not sure.
I do remember that. I don't remember the resolution.
Yeah. I don't know. What do I think they are? Based on limited information, I would assume military. It's got to be top secret military spy tech, probably, right?
Maybe, yeah. I forget. There was I saw arguments for why it couldn't possibly be military, but I don't remember what they are.
Yeah.
That feels probably some government thing. The best theory I saw on it so far was Yeah, it's probably military, and they're probably like looking for something. Like they lost I don't know, some more important drone went down somewhere, or they're like trying to track somebody who's stuck in the country. I don't know.
Yeah. Or just testing something.
Just testing, yeah. It could just be a bunch of drone tests going on for weeks. I don't know.
There's a lot of big empty space in New Jersey, I'm sure. A lot of big empty space in Pennsylvania.
They could be overhead right now.
Yeah, could be.
That's kind of fun, though. It's like kind of a, conspiracy unfolding, sort of, just like people trying to figure out what it is. I hope it's benign, whatever it is. I hope it, once they figure it out, it's like, oh, I can't believe we were making such a fuss about whatever that was.
It's just a weather balloon.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a viral teaser for the new X-Files reboot.
Right. Yeah. Video game hype. Is that one of the theories? Maybe it is like some sort of advertisement for a video game. I'll have to do some more research on this. Very interesting.
Yeah. Could be a promotion for the new Naughty Dog game.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Would it? I don't know.
I mean, Sony's got the money, right?
Probably.
Our next question is from Deadly Gearhead. He says, what is your favorite album? If you don't have one, what is your favorite band? Mine is Clutch by Clutch.
Oh.
That is album and band, I presume.
I like it when people answer their own questions.
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen Clutch. I've seen Clutch live. That's yeah. It was a long time ago. I think they opened for Marilyn Manson.
Oh, how are they?
I mean, the follow up statement there is I've seen Marilyn Manson live. Favorite album. I usually say my favorite album is The Fragile by 9 Inch Nails.
Oh.
Yeah. I have a lot of albums I love that are like, what's the word? Like brain candy or comfort food. Like I put it on
or brain candy.
I feel a certain way. It makes me feel great. Last week I got to see Interpol do Antics, their second album, all the way through. It's the 20th anniversary, which is sort of crazy. And I love that band and I love that album. And to hear it done in its entirety, in order, unmessed with, which was like, borderline religious experience. So yeah, that would be one of my favorite bands, favorite albums. But in general, like looking back historically, of all the stuff I've ever bought and like been obsessed with in the past, The Fragile, I love everything about that. I love every album, every track on that album. I love the artwork. I have the vinyl in multiple different versions. It's just kind of my favorite piece of musical thing. Yeah. How about you, DJ?
Man, every Interpol album just sounds like one endless 45-minute song to me. I feel like I could go to any Interpol concert and they'd be like, yeah, did you notice they played the whole album start to finish? I'm like, nope. What album was that, by the way? Oh, man.
I can see that, but I would also disagree.
I'm not a hardcore Interpol fan. You're better at picking up the nuances.
That's fine. Yeah.
Oh man, my friend,
I'm not saying I have good taste in music, but I like.
I'm not saying Interpol is a bad band. I like Interpol, but I'm just like, it's kind of like, okay, I'm gonna stop talking about Interpol. You can roast me for my favorite album choices if you want. I don't know if I have like one definitive favorite album, but I do have some all-timers, which are Lincoln by They Might Be Giants is very good.
Yeah.
I really like Park Life by Blur.
Oh, Blur, good call.
Yeah, and for the longest time, Automatic for the People from REM was way up there.
I was never a huge REM fan. I felt like at their height, kind of early 90s, it felt like people were sort of like U2 or REM.
It was either or.
Yeah, I didn't feel like I don't know, maybe you could be both, I guess, but
I thought it was U2 or Tool was the other one.
Oh, I don't. Really?
No? I never listened to Tool.
I don't feel like
That's
a band. That's a band you could put on any song, and it sounds like any other. You know, have you ever seen the American Psycho meme where he's like next to the jukebox and he's super proud of himself?
Oh, sure.
Pointing at the and it's the meme is like literally any Tool fan when they put on their favorite album.
Maybe it was a Tool fan who told me that. Maybe I'm thinking of a completely different band. But I didn't realize it was I didn't realize it was REM or U2. I was into both of those bands around the same time.
Yeah, I was definitely way more into U2 at that point. Although there was a documentary about REM maybe 5 or 6 years ago that came out that was like a retrospective on them, and that I watched I think it's on Hulu. And I was like, man, do I love REM? Because
pretty good.
It's like at the end of this 2-hour documentary, I was like, this is the best band ever, which means it's a pretty good documentary. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. They're good. Yeah. I think that the thing I like about REM is they peaked and then they disappeared.
Yeah. They knew how to call it.
Right. And U2 has not figured that out.
Are they still making albums? I honestly haven't listened to their stuff in a long time.
They did a new single last year that was just forgettable. It was just like, yeah. So yeah, I think sometimes knowing when to hang it up is the most exciting thing.
Yeah, that's definitely smart. If you have that level of self-awareness.
Yeah. But that's a pretty good list. I like the Mippy Giants. I like Blur.
All right. Okay, good. No notes.
Not that you need my validation.
No.
What's next?
We've got a lot of music questions this episode, so
yeah.
I feel like that's good for you.
Dudley Gearhead also wants to know what is a bucket list concert you've gone to. If you haven't yet, what is one you would like to go to? He says he got to see Stevie Nicks here in Detroit at the Pine Knob Music Theater.
Stevie Nicks went to my high school.
Stevie, oh, really?
Yeah, my high school's one claim to fame.
Our dog is named Stevie Nicks.
No, it's not.
We have two dogs. We just adopted one earlier this year, and her name is Stevie Nicks. We didn't name her that.
I'm just not aware of this.
Yeah. See if I can find a picture. She's a good girl. We just call her Stevie, but everybody's like, oh, like Stevie Nicks. You must be a big fan. And I'm like, I could name 2 songs maybe.
Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham went to my high school.
Yeah.
Funny how
my other dog is not named
Lindsey Buckingham. Maybe your next dog. Oh,
it's my baby Stevie.
It's Stevie.
Yeah. So sorry, what was the question? Bucket list concert.
Have you been to a bucket list concert?
I mean, I've been to I think I've been lucky to see most of the bands that I would ever want to see. I don't really have a lot that are like, oh damn, I'll never get to see that band ever. Except for the Smiths. The Smiths would be a bucket list concert. Morrissey is a monster. He's just a horrible person. But still, if the Smiths got back together and charged $1,000 a ticket, I would go. Because that music meant a lot to me at a time in my life when I needed it. And I listened, that's one of those things I like comfort food. I listen to old Smiths albums, even some old Morrissey solo albums. And I'm like, oh, like my heart goes to a certain place. My brain goes to a certain place when I hear this. Morrissey says horrible, racist, xenophobic shit now. And I have to tune it out because I can't imagine a world where that is the same person who made those records. So,
that's rough.
That's really
difficult.
Too bad. Yeah. And I'm not a separate the art from the artist kind of person. So I'm definitely doing some like selective listening when it comes to that. But yeah, he's been a huge disappointment in the last 10 years. But but there's some really, really good music there. And if they toured on those and somehow got back together, I would absolutely pay money to go to it.
Maybe they could replace him with like an AI hologram or something.
You know what's funny is Rick Astley, Never Gonna Give You Up fan.
Yes, everybody knows who Rick Astley is at this point.
Of course, the Rick Roll has occasionally done all Smiths covers set with an indie rock band from England. There's video of it on YouTube. I can drop it in the show notes if anybody's curious. And they're amazing. And he's exceptional. Like, and he's got a great
alternative,
voice.
The Smiths alternative, if you don't want to support them.
Right. Yeah. If you wanted to see the Smiths songs done well live by a band that's very, very close, Rick Astley does a mean Morrissey.
I love that.
And I've also heard that it pisses Morrissey off, which pleases me.
Even better, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good. Man, I love it when somebody turns out to just be super cool like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Rick Astley is a real musician.
He's legit, yeah.
Yeah.
He's not just the
deal.
meme.
Yeah. And he's a cool dad. Like, his kids are musicians too. During the lockdown in 2020, like, they would do live streams of them playing music together at home and stuff like that. And he's just an awesome dude, and got really lucky really young with a kind of mediocre song, and now just gets to sort of indulge his musical whims for the rest of his life.
And also just a beloved internet sensation, or however you classify that.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, bucket list concert, like, thing I've never gotten to see but would love to go see would definitely be the Smiths.
Good answer.
Yeah, thank you. You?
I'm still waiting for David Bowie to announce his next tour dates. Not sure what the holdup is, but yeah, would love to do that.
Yeah.
I think barring that,
you never got to see him, I presume.
Never got to see him. No, it wasn't. I don't know if he was like performing a lot when I started listening to him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm also just like not a huge concert goer to begin with, so I don't know if it occurred to me like, oh, I should go see David Bowie. Oh, I might
not get another chance, right? Yeah.
Right. Like, I mean, he's also, he was just an enormous artist, so I feel like it's at some level, I'm just like, I don't know if I would like how much does a ticket to David Bowie cost? Like, I don't know if I would go see like U2 either. U2 is very expensive.
Yeah.
But, barring David Bowie, I was very fortunate to get to see Tomoyasu Hotei live in Tokyo 2013. One of my favorite rock and rollers. This is my first trip over to Japan. I asked one of my coworkers, who was like visiting from the Japan office for my work at the time. I was like, I'm doing this trip. I think that there's like this artist who I like. He's doing a show while I'm going to be over there. I need you to help me buy tickets for it. And he was very gracious and helped me get a couple of tickets for that show. Nice. And it was incredible. So good. It was not something I really expected to be able to do. And yeah, it was so good. Still have really fond memories about that show.
Cool. I don't know who that is, but I'm happy for you.
He did. So in the US, his biggest claim to fame is he did the song that plays in all the Kill Bill trailers. So like the funky kind of like rock song. It plays when she's like in the movie when she's driving to the restaurant in Japan to kill everybody, all the guys with the samurai swords. But yeah, besides that, he's actually like an enormous, enormously popular, musician over there.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, very, very good about that.
Nice.
I don't know what else is left. I don't know if I have any more bucket list concerts. Yeah.
What you said you've not been to a ton of concerts. What is like looking back at the? Oh, you just said yours. That I was gonna say, what would be like the highlight of your concert going experiences?
That one was pretty good.
Yeah.
I saw Bob Dylan live. My freshman quarter in college. I wasn't even like huge into Bob Dylan at that point, but it was still like, even considering that, it was an amazing show. Oh, so this is what I always forget about because it's not like sort of a rock, sort of like pop musician. But another one of the times I went to Japan, it just happened to be the 20th anniversary of Xenogears, taking it back to video games for a second. And they were putting on a 20th anniversary orchestra performance of some of the songs in the soundtrack. Ah. And that's one of my favorite games of all time, one of my favorite game soundtracks of all time. And I wasn't even aware that this was going on. I forget how I even found out about it, but I was like over there already. And I was like, it's too late to buy tickets. How can I possibly attend this? So I spent like the next 24 hours when I should have been doing like vacation stuff and like sightseeing, going on like Japanese eBay and like Yahoo auctions and like learning all the Japanese like hashtags on Twitter for like Xenogears and concerts. I was like, does anybody have a spare ticket? Just like putting all these phrases into Google Translate. And by some miracle, somebody on Twitter got back to me and he had extra tickets. And it was like he sold me his extra one. And I just like sat next to him and his friend at the show. They were amazing tickets, actually. It was like front row. It was like actually front row, I think.
Wow.
And I was just like, we went in, we sat down, and I was just like, did I pay you enough for these tickets? Like, these are unbelievable. And he was like, no, don't worry about it. But yeah, that was like really sort of once in a lifetime kind of stuff. Maybe that's my favorite concert. Nice. I'll think about it. Yeah.
That's pretty good. Yeah, that's the sort of the awkward reality of buying the extra ticket from a stranger is you then have to sit next to that person at the show.
Oh no, yeah, that's fine though.
Or like very, sneak very off polite. To go stand somewhere else or whatever. But yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. What is next on the list? Ashton wants to know if Randy had to save one movie, one video game, and one vinyl from his collection, what would they be?
Oh, this is inspired by your wall of media behind you, I think.
My wall of dead media. Yeah. Right here. Yeah, there's another wall of it right here that you can't see on camera. But yeah, I have a problem with old unsupported media formats. What was the list? One movie, one video game, one vinyl from my collection. I don't know if I have like collector-y movies. I don't know that I have anything in my collection that is like unique or rare. I have the complete series of X-Files box set.
Nice.
That is all the discs in one like big whack of a pack. I have that for Twin Peaks too, and I don't think you can get those anymore. I know the X-Files ones, they eventually broke up and sold by individual seasons. And the X-Files thing, I don't know. That's the X-Files one. Twin Peaks, I'm not sure. But yeah, I have those, and those are kind of cool. And they have like slipcases and are like on a shelf somewhere. So I guess that's my movie collection thing. One video game. Do I have collector-y video games? I don't know.
Surely you must have some sort of collector's edition. You don't have like an Uncharted box with like a Nathan Drake statue?
Right there.
Oh, I see it. Yeah, it's right there.
It's got the Uncharted medallion on it. That's Uncharted 2, I believe.
I said that without even realizing it's just like sitting there.
It's right there behind me. And then below it is a crate for one of the Tomb Raider games that came with a giant, like 18-inch Lara Croft action figure. That
brown thing that looks like just a treasure chest?
It's like a wooden crate from the video game that actually,
Oh my god.
It has a big Lara Croft that I don't have room to put anywhere else inside of it. And the Uncharted 4 one has a big Nathan Drake one.
Love that.
Yeah. Sorry. So yes, I do have video game collector-y things.
It's going to be tough to drag that Lara Croft crate out of your apartment. I don't know what the context on this question is. If there's like a fire or something.
This is the dilemma. Is at some point, like, the things you own end up owning you. Is that like I now have a house full of like toys and garbage, and I don't know what to do with any of it anymore. And there's a part of me that's sort of like, just put it out on the curb. But I'm also like, no, wait, what if it's worth money? And I realize I'm on that show Hoarders, where does it bring you joy? Yeah. And then for albums, I have the original press of The Downward Spiral by Nine Inch Nails, which I'm told is worth a lot of money right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it has been reprinted a few times. I think it's currently out of print, but the original OG one that actually came out in 1993, 94, obviously is very long out of print, and I bought it at that point, and it's still in very good condition, and I think that's probably the most expensive thing in my vinyl collection.
Ooh, get it signed.
That'd be nice. That'd be cool. That question was just for me, but do you have any cool collector-y things in your collection?
Do I have cool collector things? I probably do. I don't think I have any like collector movies. No like collector's edition kind of deals. As far as music and video games, though, I have a signed copy of Flood, another The Happy Giants album, signed by the Johns.
Very cool.
That my friend Mike gave me. I knew him from online for a long time. And then we met up in person finally one year. And he was like, "Oh, by the way, this is for you," because he knew I was a big fan of They Might Be Giants. And I was like, "Oh my god, how could you just give me this?" And he was like, "No, it's fine." And I didn't have anything nearly as, amazing to give in return. I didn't realize we were doing a gift exchange, so I felt terrible.
So I got you a Starbucks gift card.
yeah. But yeah, so that is like an unexpectedly very cool thing in my collection now.
Nice.
And then for video games, I have a copy of Dragon Warrior for the NES, just Dragon Quest 1, the Western version, that I got with my Nintendo Power subscription back in the day because they were giving those away. Yeah. And it's signed by Yuji Horii, who's the director-producer, or the creator of the series. So, for some reason, there was like a GameStop opening in a town near, like, right next to where I grew up. And this was around the release, I think, Dragon Quest 6 on DS. And Yuji Horii was in attendance it doesn't make any sense why he was there. It was just like a completely random GameStop, not an especially nice GameStop. Not like a flagship store or anything. But I found out this was happening, so I went and I stood in line with a bunch of other Dragon Quest nerds for a few hours. I guess I wasn't working at the time, or maybe it was on the weekend. I don't remember. But I had my my NES cartridge, and I got him to sign it. And he even drew a little slime cartoon on it. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's really good.
Very cool.
Yeah,
I have I guess it's movie related. I have the DVD box set of Hellraiser. Everybody knows what Hellraiser is. And it's a metal case, and it's like a relief thing. It's like prickly where his head is, where the pins in his head are and stuff. And it's got Pinhead holding the box on the outside. And I brought that with me to a horror convention where Doug Bradley was, and he's the actor who played Pinhead in all of the old OG Hellraiser movies. And he's now this sort of like old British gentleman. And
I love it when it turns out that they're just like, it was an old British guy in the suit the whole time.
Shakespearean trained, feeble now, obviously, but was just a gentleman and a delight to speak to, even very briefly at a horror con. And he signed the box set with like a gold or a silver, metallic marker, and it says, "Randy, I'll see you in hell, Doug."
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And that is a favorite thing in my collection. There's like somebody would go, "I'll give you $1 million for that," and I'm like, "Oh, I don't know. I don't think I could, honestly."
Yeah, you should just hold on to it.
Yeah,
that's what I do.
I really like that. Yeah.
Should take a minute. I have to apologize. I've been ignoring the chat because I've been so wrapped up in these questions.
Sure.
So going back to the superstitions thing, Russ Greeno asks, "Is reloading after a kill on Call of Duty a superstition?" Because he is guilty of that. Yeah. I don't know if it's a superstition unless you're like, if I don't reload, something bad will happen.
Yeah, my mom will die. Yeah, exactly.
Something bad other than, I'll get caught without any ammo in my clip.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I also do that. Maybe that's my weird gaming habit.
I don't get kills in Call of Duty, so I don't know what that means.
No, you still gotta reload. Unless you're not firing your gun. Maybe that's why you don't get kills. If that's the
I can't hit the broadside of a house in Call of Duty. So.
Oh, okay. Obi Hyatt says, "I never have the volume on my TV set to a prime number." Okay.
Yeah. My partner has a thing with the radio in the car. The volume has to be even numbers.
Oh, you know what? I do the same thing. If it's like, volume or like the temperature or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, make that even. It just feels better. That's stupid. That's a superstitious thing, I feel like. Or maybe that's just OCD. I don't know.
Yeah. I'll put the volume on 7 and she'll lean over and tick it up 1. Yeah.
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 Interesting. Let's see. A lot of questions about the wig. Yes, I'm Infinity Nikki for the evening. Thank you very much for noticing. And then a bunch of comments about how Morrissey is a racist POS.
True. Yes. Yep.
Okay. Oh, and then Deadly Gearhead saw Bob Dylan and Willie Nelson. Wait, he says he just saw Bob Dylan. Like, oh man. I mean, he's always on tour, but I'm worried about him. And Willie Nelson is like, Willie Nelson should just be relaxing somewhere
Hmm.
with Bob Dylan, probably.
I saw Willie Nelson in the 90s at one of the Woodstocks. Yeah. I don't know a lot about Willie Nelson. I know he's like a big cannabis advocate and user.
He's also a musician.
Definitely. Yeah, his brand. But yeah. But yeah, that's what I know about Willie Nelson. Yeah.
Mm.
That's a cool combo, though. I would never put those two together. That's exciting.
Yeah. At some point, like I've been to, I think, 3 Bob Dylan concerts. And the last one I went to was probably 10 years ago. And I was just like, okay, I'm going to enjoy this. I feel like this should be the last one because he's getting like really hard to understand what he's saying. So like, like endless respect for him for continuing the tour. It's unbelievable. But my days of going to see Bob Dylan live may have maybe in the past.
I had that moment recently. I saw Peter Gabriel. And there was a moment where he slowly walked out onto stage where I was like, oh, he's a very old man. Yeah. And there may not be a lot more of these tours left. He's still a very active artist, both like a visual artist and a songwriter, musician, et cetera, et cetera. But world tours are hard. I can't imagine that's very easy to pull off, if you're 80 something years old.
That's the other thing.
Yeah.
It's not just like, in their hometown. They're like flying all over the place.
Yeah.
That's stressful.
Who was it? Genesis recently did like a final tour in Europe, and Phil Collins is not mobile. Phil Collins was like in a wheelchair performing for the entire show. And I was like, oh yeah, because he's not a young person doing this and staging a giant rock show that people have to sort of feel like they got their money's worth. Yeah. So it's hard when your heroes get old. Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. I don't like seeing, if they're trending online. I'm just like,
yeah.
I hope they just announced a new album or something. That's why.
Yikes.
Okay. Anyway, where do we leave off?
Creed wants to know. All the music questions. Randy, what are your 3 favorite Nine Inch Nails albums, and which one is your least favorite? And then he has a follow-up question for you. I already tipped my hat. My favorite Nine Inch Nails album is The Fragile. Yeah, those early ones, you can't go wrong. It's kind of in order from number 1 would be The Fragile. Number 2 is probably Pretty Hate Machine. Number 3, The Downward Spiral. I love Broken, but it's not really an album. And then, it is slightly diminishing returns from that point forward. I don't think there's there's not a bad Nine Inch Nails record. Even sort of mid Nine Inch Nails is pretty good. But With Teeth is terrible. That's not a good record. But there are still pockets of good music in it, and The Slip is not great either. But again, I could probably pick 1 or 2 bangers off of there. So none of it's a total waste. It's all worth listening to, I think. But yeah, definitely the first 3 or 4, just out of the gate, were exceptional. Drugs were a hell of a thing.
Yeah. Oh, man.
And DJ, what are your 3 favorite Final Fantasy XIV jobs, and which one is your least favorite?
Oh man, a Final Fantasy question. Finally, man, every year, I think every previous year that we've done this, the Drunktacular, and requested questions from people, I've told people I will do a shot for every Final Fantasy XIV question that we have to read on the air. And nobody ever sends in a question about it, so I've been off the hook. But in spirit of that, I'll just finish this.
I would say, do you have a shot prepared? Do you have one lined up?
But good question. What are my favorite Final Fantasy XIV jobs? Are those just the ones that I play the most? Is that the same as my favorite?
Are you eating plastic hair? Is that what's happening right now?
This is getting everywhere. I don't know if this is like how real hair this length works, but it's very challenging.
Yeah.
But my 3 favorite jobs, number 1, Black Mage, of course, my favorite for going on probably like 10 years now, and my main job, which they ruined this expansion. I can't believe it. The rumors are true. Everybody hates it now. It's fine. It's mostly fine. They made some changes to it that don't make any sense and make it less fun to play than it was before. And it feels like they've been slowly like walking them back or trying to make improvements to the job that make it more fun, but in ways that don't address the bad changes they made. So it's the future of the job is very questionable at this point, but still, I love it. It's the best. Second favorite, machinist. I think these are just the jobs I end up playing the most. So yeah, machinist, gunslinger job. I love that they have they've slowly incorporated more and more of like engineer elements into it. So now they've got all these different like tools. They've got like a big drill and a chainsaw and a giant robot that they summon, and it shoots missiles at the enemy. It's really cool.
Wow.
It's like it's loosely based on Edgar from Final Fantasy VI, who is one of my favorite Final Fantasy characters. So that's very fun. It's a good callback. And then third favorite job, Samurai, probably. Samurai, I feel like, is one of, like, when they introduced it, one of the best design jobs they had done. It plays very logically. It sort of rewards concentration and practice. And it's just like all the skills look super cool. It's like a lot of the sort of like samurai movie or anime, like they sheath their sword for a second, and it's sort of like a wind up before they like unleash this huge like draw attack. It looks really cool. So yeah, Black Mage, Machinist, Samurai, I think. Incidentally,
least favorite.
Well, so I was gonna say, incidentally, all three of those jobs are notable because they don't provide any sort of like party buffs or support to the rest of the party. So I don't know if that says something about my playstyle, but I find that interesting. Least favorite is probably Viper, one of the new jobs from the latest expansion. I just think it doesn't make any sense. It's like you just follow a flow chart in terms of like what abilities you're supposed to push. Like there's no real thought to it. You just push whatever is blinking on your hotbars, which I don't think is very fun. Also, thematically, it's just a guy with two swords. Like, it just doesn't feel very Final Fantasy to me. It's like, it's kind of, it's supposed to be sort of like a hunter kind of job, and they have some, like, very light, sort of like snake-themed moves, but I just don't think they did a very good job fleshing it out. It just doesn't, like, if this were in any other Final Fantasy game, I would never use it. It's just so uninteresting. Having two swords is very cool. I'll give it that.
It's a bummer they have to make that a job, though. Like, you can't just be one of the other ones who gets two swords.
Yeah, I feel like there are so many other jobs they could have done that they just have two swords. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like a musketeer. No, a musketeer has one sword. I don't know.
An ambidextrous chef.
Yes, a chef job would be amazing. I think
2 swords. That would make sense. Or 2 knives, anyways.
Yeah. More whimsical, silly jobs would be fun. They just added a painter job, which is like, yeah, that's cool. They don't have to all be these super edgy, sort of like, dual wielding kind of deals. Just give somebody a big chef's knife and a big frying pan.
Is the painter like Bob Ross? Is it like...
I've seen a lot of people who
big poofy afro
who will like change their character to have the afro and like the sort of blue t-shirt or whatever that he wears. It's really good, really, really good.
Nice.
Yeah, they say it's the easiest job to play because you can't mess it up. You only have happy little accidents.
Excellent.
Okay, and then we have a follow-up to both of these questions.
Yes, a couple of follow-up questions. Creed also wants to know, Randy, can you name any other jobs from Final Fantasy XIV? Assistant manager.
No, come on.
Vice president of marketing. No, I don't know. No, I mean the only things that are sort of like popping into my brain are like generic like archer and tank and things like that. But I suspect like
close
Final Fantasy makes them other things. No.
Close, but
mechanic?
Not quite. Mechanic, no. Machinist is close.
Machinist, you said that. Yeah, maybe that's where that came from.
Come on, I teed it up for you. I mentioned Black Mage.
White Mage.
There you go. Okay,
Red
you
Mage.
got one. Wait, what did you say after that?
The Red Queen. Red Mage.
Red Mage. Okay, yeah, he's got it. He got 2 of them. Nice job.
They just come in a variety of colors.
Yeah, they do. It's that easy.
Purple Mage.
No. Okay.
That's just a wizard, honestly. A Purple Mage is a wizard.
Purple Mage is Gandalf.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, there you go. Gandalf the Grey.
Yeah. No Grey Mage yet. Maybe later.
No. I think the Tolkien people would lose their mind. Yeah, that's all I got.
Okay, no, you did great.
And follow up for you, DJ. Can you name any other Nine Inch Nails albums?
No. You named all the ones that I can think of.
Did I say the ones you know? Yeah.
Yeah. The Downward Spiral, The Fragile, Pretty Hate Machine, I believe was one of them.
Correct. Yep.
Does it count if he didn't leave me any? Because he also named a bunch of them after that. I don't know how many albums.
I did, yeah. I kind of word vomited before I read the whole question.
What about the Social Network original motion picture soundtrack? Technically, maybe not Nine Inch Nails, but...
Yeah. Although Nine Inch Nails at this point is Trent and Atticus, so you're not far. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Quake 1 soundtrack.
That was just Trent.
That was just Trent, okay. Intergalactic, whatever, the new Naughty Dog game.
Yeah. That's exciting.
Okay, so I got like 2.5.
Okay, you're pretty good, yeah. Soundtrack to Challengers is a movie came out earlier this year that Nine Inch Nails, Trent and Atticus Ross did the soundtrack to, is really, really good. And I think it's like a good standalone piece of music. It's a lot of their stuff can be like kind of sparse and twinkly and like the Gone Girl soundtrack and the Social Network soundtrack are kind of like ambient tracks. And the Challengers one is like intense and dubby and dancey and super fun. Would recommend.
I should check it out. I actually have not listened to a lot of Nine Inch Nails. There's not a specific reason why. I just haven't. So,
yeah.
Oh, Creed's is in the chat. He says he'll count it. I assume that was about the Social Network. So sure,
the judges will accept the Social Network. Yep.
And Rabbit has some thoughts on Final Fantasy jobs. I think this is about Pick Them Answer, which is the artist job. I believe there's a silly rotation. I don't know. I don't know which jobs I was referring to, but there are a lot of jobs at this point. So, it was about Black Mage. Yes. Oh no! Everybody's learning Black Mage. That's cool. I like to hear that people are learning Black Mage.
Yeah. Is the Black Mage like an evil mage? Is he like a dark wizard kind of thing?
No, and they make the distinction that that it's not about evil. It's about or light and dark is not about evil either. It's just these two opposing sides of whatever coin. Black Mage is you must have seen. There's always they're in a long blue robe and they got the pointy yellow hat. Maybe not. But anyway, that's sort of the...
Oh, yeah, totally. Absolutely. As soon as you said it, I knew exactly what you meant. Yeah.
Come on. If I showed you a picture, you'd be like, oh, yeah, that guy.
Probably. Yes.
But yeah, it's just the Final Fantasy's name for our wizard. So they cast fireball and whatever.
Lightning bolt.
Yeah, it has a little lightning. It's all good. And then this is a first for the Drunktacular. I think so. These questions were all left on the website. And Russ Greeno actually has follow-ups to Creed's question, which are, keeps hearing about these jobs, these Final Fantasy games. Does anyone actually ever do their so-called jobs? Like, if I have a cook, I set them to cook the party's meals. Blacksmith should make all the weapons and armor. Janitor should keep the camp tidy, etc., etc. They do. Well, I mean, so first of all, they're just called jobs as opposed to classes. For whatever reason, which I think is kind of funny because it does make you sound like you're going to a 9 to 5 behind a desk or something instead of throwing lightning bolts.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the funny thing about the Yakuza games, at least the ones that I've played, is that you actually go to the unemployment bureau to get your new jobs.
Yes, that's very good.
And and all the jobs sort of tie in to an actual career path that you would pursue, garbage man and things like that. And you get the uniform that goes with it, but you don't actually do that job in the game. It would be cool if there was some mechanism by which you did, I think one of the characters was, what was it? Oh, she was a hostess at a club.
Yeah.
But didn't actually go,
Well, they didn't work the job. I was going to say they did do sort of job thematic things, but it was always beating somebody with like
Right.
a hostess. But no, she had like a microphone or something that she would hit people
Yes.
with. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And the garbage man, he had like trash bags. He would, like,
Yes. Oh, but
smash
then there
people
was
with
like
stuff.
there was the office worker who would pelt people with thumbtacks, which was like legitimately one of the best attacks in the entire game. So
Yeah.
it did.
But there wasn't a
did
mini
help.
game where you had to like do the job, like pick up trash on the street. Although there was a mini game where you had to pick up trash
I
on the
was
street.
like, wait a minute, there may have been,
But it wasn't tied to you being the garbage man. Okay, I'm talking myself out of this now. But yeah,
Right.
Yakuza is probably the closest to actually like justifying calling them jobs, I think.
Yeah.
At least in my limited experience.
Those games so good. But then about the comments about the cook and the blacksmith in Final Fantasy XIV. Anyway, you can be a cook and a blacksmith, and they're non-combat jobs, but you do cook food that buffs the party. And blacksmith, you can make all the weapons and armor, like you were talking about. So yeah, you can support the party in other ways
and give them to other players.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. There's no janitor job at this point, but or I don't know, maybe they show up after like the raid has finished and they clean up, but I haven't seen them.
What was the thing you were doing in one of the games where you were making gloves?
Yeah, no, that was probably Final Fantasy.
Was that Final Fantasy?
Gloves. Yeah. Yes.
And then you were selling them to other people, right? Wasn't that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At some point, I had like a pants sewing empire, and that's how I bought my house in the game. And I sold all these pants to people on the market board. Till this day, I don't understand why people were buying so many pants. It's very weird. Oh, and Rabbit in the chat.
Always on the lookout for a good pair of pants.
Yeah, well, they are a good deal, I guess. Rabbit points out that there is an emote in Final Fantasy XIV where you just you sweep up with a broom, which is very popular. So yeah, you can kind of be a janitor. It's just for show. It doesn't really have any practical effects.
Yeah. The first thing that popped into my brain when I read this question was Fantasy Life, which you had a series of jobs in that. And this is not well, it's kind of a JRPG, I guess. But it's not like a Final Fantasy or Yakuza kind of RPG. But you pick jobs in that, and there were mini games associated with it where you did the thing that was your job. So if you were a chef, you had to like cook things and bake things. And if you were a seamstress, you had to sew things. And there were mini games connected to all of those. And that was your pathway to sort of leveling up that job and et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. That first Fantasy Life was fine.
A glowing endorsement.
Yes. Life. I remember kind of like feeling very mixed about it. It's a lot of mini games. And it was pretty charming. But yeah, I don't know. Curious about the new one. It's supposed to come out in 2025. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah. I remember specifically not being able to get into it because all of the jobs, both the combat jobs and the like craftsman jobs, were the exact same jobs from Final Fantasy XIV, which I had just started playing at the time, and I was just like, I like this version better. But yeah, when the new one comes out, I'm curious to give it another look.
Cool. All right. Well, would you like to take a break, or would you like to muscle through?
Should we? I don't know. How are you feeling? I'm feeling okay. Do you want to take a break?
No, I'm pretty good. Let's
All right, let's do it.
Yeah. In the interest of getting to everybody's question in the arbitrarily determined amount of time that we have here, let's we can not lightning round, but like strive to be a little more efficient with the final questions here, maybe.
Okay, we can speed up a little bit.
Yeah. Anonymous question here from someone, presumably DJ.
Yes, so yes, this is also from me. This is another Friday the 13th question.
Do you murder people in games? Do you feel bad about it? Has your stance on violence in games changed over the years?
So it's a very dark question. I was expecting this just another like raucous second half of the show. I don't know how you're doing.
For dark times. Well, let me open the other beer.
Oh yeah. Let's find out about that other beer, and whatever drugs you're mixing into it.
This is what is this? Rusty Rail Brewing Company. This is a brewery here in Pennsylvania. It is called Crunchbot. Look at the label; it's a robot.
That's very good.
It is a caramel peanut imperial brown ale. It is 9% ABV. So
oh man, here we go.
Wish me luck.
What percentage PBV is it?
It's very PB. It's super peanut buttery. Yeah. Oh, it is like liquid peanut butter. That's a little funky.
Man, you and the peanut butter is just something I don't understand.
I like a peanut butter ale. They make a peanut butter hef at Rusty Rail that's really good. I'm a fan of that.
I would
like
never.
A good hef. Yeah.
A peanut butter. I don't know. I don't think I could do it.
So back to the question at hand: do I murder people in games? Do I feel bad about it? Has your stance on violence in games changed over the years? I think it's definitely changed. Sort of starting with the final question. Like, I used to find like Mortal Kombat super fun and like oh cool that you can like rip his spine out and things like that. And now I think it's silly and gross. Yeah, I used to think it was funny that you could pick up prostitutes in Grand Theft Auto and then take their money and run them over. And now I think that's kind of silly and gross. So definitely
feels a little antisocial.
Yeah, that has being antisocial in video games appeals to me less now than it did when I was a younger person. Yeah. So given like the binary sometimes in video games where like you can save somebody or kill somebody, my logic is typically very mechanical. I will inevitably Google, is it better to kill or spare this person? and then whichever one is more advantageous to my game, I will do. So yeah. In BioShock, I killed all the little sisters because it's way better for you if you kill them than let them live.
Is it? Oh, no, that's right. Yeah, you don't get anything if you spare them. You just feel good about it.
You just feel good about it, exactly, yeah.
Oh, I think I saved all of them.
Yeah. And then in, what's the other one? Dishonored? I murdered everybody. Like, no one was spared. There was not a single person left alive in Dunwall. And I had a rat problem because of it. That's the downside, is that you will eventually be overrun by rats in the game. But yeah, you get tons of extra like money and weapons and unlocks and things like that for just laying waste to everybody. So yeah, whatever is the best, whatever is the most advantageous thing to do in a video game, typically I will do that thing.
I forgot about Dishonored, which is, I feel bad because that's like, I really like that game.
Oh yeah, I like both of them. The second one's great too. The DLC is really, really good. The Outsider DLC.
Yeah, I think I spared everybody because I knew about the rat thing.
Yeah,
there are definitely some people where I was like, I gotta stab this guy, but oh no, wait,
yeah, and they were all pretty despicable. Yeah, they didn't ever really sort of like, oh, maybe I should let him live. Yeah,
there was definitely one guy who I like was trying to save him because I think I saved everybody up until that point. But there was like a fireplace in his room where you like incapacitate him or whatever, or maybe I was just trying to hide the body there. And for some reason, I put his body down very close to the fireplace, and he just ignited. Like, oh no! Oh man, I'm gonna have rats now. But I think
he must have had a little whale oil on his shirt, and he just went up.
Like, oh no, oh god, no, oh the humanity. But yeah, so I swear I wasn't doing it on purpose. I really think I'm pretty sure I tried to spare everybody. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know, like there's still a part of me that likes like the Dead Space games and stuff like that. Games that are sort of like patently horror. I like the sort of like gooiness of that. The Dead Space remake that came out last year is super fun and is gross. But it's gross aliens. Yeah, I think it's a little different when it's people, and maybe that's a thing that has sort of like occurred to me as an older person.
Yeah, I think we're similarly aligned. I used to, Grand Theft Auto 3 was just like a revelation, like driving your car down the sidewalk and watching people fly off the hood. It was hilarious. But then later on, it's like, and part of this I think is because the games also just become more realistic. Because I remember a very specific moment in Grand Theft Auto 4 when I was like, this game is going to be the best. I'm going to drive my car down the sidewalk again. It's going to be a lot of fun. And at one point I was trying to hijack somebody's car and I like pointed my gun at him and shot him through the windshield. And it like, the windshield shattered and there was like a blood splatter on it. And he like fell forward onto the car hood or the car horn. And like the horn just went off, like, just sounds like somebody crashed their car or whatever. And I was just like, something about that moment was just too like visceral to me. And it's like, oh, I don't like this anymore. And I think, not necessarily, it wasn't like I stopped cold turkey after that, but definitely as I've gotten older and played more video games, and as they've become more realistic, I generally feel worse about just committing or just like going on a murder spree in these games, no matter if it's like you're kind of supposed to do that in Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think and I've talked about this in the show before, I think it would be amazing to make a giant open world game where the objectives are not like totally killing everybody.
What if only somebody would make a game like this?
Yeah, I also don't want that
my
objective,
long wig.
The primary objective to be fashion shows.
Come on,
or whatever.
Come on.
Yeah. Cool. I'm glad that exists. But like, I want a Tomb Raider game where she doesn't like kill everybody.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I want an Uncharted game where that's not the default.
How about that new Indiana Jones game? Does he kill a lot of guys in that?
I don't know. I think so.
He kind of killed a lot of guys in the movies, but they were all Nazis, so it's fine.
All Nazis, so they probably deserved it. Yeah.
But I don't think it's like Uncharted where he just goes into a room and guns down 40 guys trying to rush him.
Yeah, I would presume not. I've not played that. That's actually one of the games that I want to play over the holidays here. So,
yeah.
We'll talk about that next year.
Okay. Yeah, it was like not on my list, but everybody's been speaking so highly of it. I'm like, okay, fine. We'll play an Indiana Jones game. We'll see.
Yeah. That was one of the things that I just read this week was sort of like, if Indiana Jones had come out at a better time, it would have been the game of the year.
Yeah.
That's kind of an interesting perspective. So, cool. Yeah, so more stuff like that. I thought it was really fun in Watch Dogs 2, which is not a great game by any means, that you could play almost the entire thing kind of passively.
Yeah.
And it was sometimes challenging to like play the game that way too. Like, you had to be more creative and use your tools better rather than just sort of like pulling out a gun and wasting everybody as the default.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I like when that's an option in things. That was less the Deus Ex games. You could always do pacifist runs if you wanted to, except for the first one where they kind of bungled it by giving you boss fights where you had to kill people.
Excuse me.
There were objectives.
By the first one, you mean the third one?
Oh, yes, that's exactly what I mean. Sorry, thank you for calling me. Excuse me, but yeah.
I was just like, well, see, like in the first one, you could just
no, it wasn't the
entire thing. Yeah.
No, the first Adam Jensen Deus Ex.
Yes,
you could. Yeah, but those were great, and they were giant open world games with tons of like pathways and processes and upgrades and tools and things like that. And if you were smart and creative enough, you could do an entire run where you didn't have a body count.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I think I did a non-lethal playthrough of the first Deus Ex until I got the like nanomachine sword, because then you just gotta kill everybody.
Gotta kill some people.
That's like the best weapon in any video game. Yeah.
On the related topic, Russ Greeno would like to know, what is the minimum number of people you would murder for $1 million?
The second half of the show here is very murder-centric, so strap in.
I think that's the last murder question, but for those who might find this line of questioning unappealing, Russ also clarifies it has to be regular folk, not serial killers or war criminals, or politicians or CEOs.
Yes, be careful what you say on the internet.
I know. Sorry. Ooh. Minimum number of people I would murder for $1 million. I don't know. That's
Is that like? I don't know how I'm understanding. I mean, I think I get what he's asking, but like the minimum number, like
one is the minimum number.
I feel like don't pay me until I've killed at least 3 people, right?
Yeah.
That's not what he's asking.
Maybe it's like, would you kill 10 people for $1 million? Or is that number 5? Or is that number 1?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I wonder if it's like, what's the minimum amount of dollars that you would kill someone for? That makes more sense in my head. I don't know.
I don't know. Not a big fan of killing, obviously. I don't, but $1 million is a lot of money. Like, would I have like a leisurely life and not have to be on the run? Would the police be looking for me? Or would I get $1 million and just get away with it?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how we should interpret this. If it's, I feel like, is $1 million like $1 million? Is it sort of the promise that you will be like financially independent after murdering somebody?
I don't know. I'm not saying I would, but $1 million is a lot of money.
It is.
Yeah.
That
was evasive.
It was evasive. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I would really like to not kill anyone. Even if it was a serial killer or a war criminal. And I don't know how much we're gonna like get into the details. I feel like you put in that clause so you can't be like, oh, they're on death row. Would you throw the switch for $1 million? Like you have to be committing murder.
It's like Dexter, but he only kills other murderers.
Yeah. So it's like, he says regular folk. So you're committing a crime and you're a murderer afterward. Is that worth it to you for $1 million? I think I would hope that I would be able to turn it down because I don't want to kill anyone. I have very few like items on my bucket list. I mean, I would like to travel to a bunch of places, but one of the things is like I don't want to kill anybody. And I was like, I think that's very reasonable. Like, I can't even imagine what the situation would be.
Sure.
But yeah, for $1 million, I don't think it'd be worth it. Even the people who I like despise, I don't think I would want to kill them. Yeah.
I think it's easy to imagine that. No, I can't say that on the internet. Never mind.
Oh, man. Too hot for Twitch.
It would be better if some people did not live.
Certainly.
We're not living. Yes. But I don't necessarily want to be the one who has the responsibility of taking care of that.
Yes. Yeah. Who's to make that decision?
Correct. Yeah. I mean, as a vegan, I won't eat a chicken sandwich, so I'm certainly not going to like murder somebody in the street. So,
would you eat a chicken sandwich for $1 million?
Oh, totally. Yeah, without hesitation.
Oh man. Okay. Well. Okay. $500,000. Let's find the line. Where is it? Never mind.
I mean, that's. This is like if you were on a desert island, would you eat a chicken sandwich? Yeah. I'm like, what is it? Just me and a chicken sandwich on the desert island? Yeah. I don't know. That is a lot of money, and it's that chicken had a life and had a family and had a right to live as much as you and I do, I think. But
what if the chicken was on death row?
The chicken would want me to be $1 million. What if the chicken was a dick? What if he was? Yeah.
What if the chicken was a Republican?
Yeah. What if I don't necessarily agree with his politics? What if he voted for Trump 3 times? Yeah.
Oh man. Obi Hyde in the chat says every year this becomes the murder show. Do we talk about murder every year?
I know we do like the desert island scenario a lot.
The desert island, yeah. Nobody asked the desert island question this year. Eshin says, "Feel like you aren't drinking enough. We need this question in another couple hours." Okay, we can revisit. Right. We can come back to this. But I would not murder anyone. Hopefully, I would not murder anyone.
Yeah. Yes, I think that's my short answer as well. I would prefer not to. Thank you.
Yes. How much money would you murder someone for? Maybe that's a different question.
What's the point at which you can't refuse?
Yeah, I would.
I don't know. I kind of don't want to find out.
Yeah. I don't know if that's something. I mean, it's tough to put a price on that. Yeah.
I think I would like to go through life not knowing where my price is.
Yes. Yeah. That's a good outlook.
Yeah. Deadly Gearhead, not a murder question, would like to know what band do you think everyone needs to give a try?
Is it 9 Inch Nails?
It's not 9 Inch Nails, no. I understand that there is not a universal appeal to that. So that's not a thing that I would like, oh, you should check these guys out. You'll like them. What is a band I think everyone should give a try?
Okay, while you're thinking about it, I have an answer.
Oh,
which
go.
is where I lost it. Where is it? No, okay. So my original answer was Bob Dylan because he's so good. But also, I want to give a shout out to the Blue Hearts, which is basically the Japanese version of the Clash.
Oh.
And so I listen to a lot of Japanese music. A lot of it I feel like is a tough ask for people. But man, the Blue Hearts I feel like anybody could get into, especially if you like the Clash, especially, or like punk rock or just like rock in general. They're so good. And they've for whatever reason their label or whatever has decided that they don't belong on Western streaming services, which is very unfortunate. But if you can find any music, their stuff is on YouTube, you can look it up. The Blue Hearts, very, very good.
Nice. Never heard of it, but the Clash is a good reference. I'd back that. Cool. What do I like? There is a fairly recent band, I would say like last 10 years, called Joywave that I would recommend. They're like an indie pop thing, but they like musically sound kind of bright and fun and electronic and bouncy. But then you start reading the lyrics and you're like, oh, this is a sad person. This is surprisingly not dark necessarily, but just feels very real. It has sort of like a pop music sheen to it, but like lyrically, it's a much darker and sort of easier to identify with than I generally think pop music is. So I kind of like that it's like a little bomb in that way, and that you're sort of like, oh, this is sort of like palatable and easy to digest. But if you start like actually listening to what he's singing about, you're like, oh, this person needs a hug.
Secret sad band.
Yeah. Yeah, so I kind of dig that about Joywave. They're really good live too. I've seen them live a few times. They're the most recent Jedi Survivor video game. There's a band in the cantina in that game that's like an alien band, and Joywave actually did all of their music. So there's a video game connection to this as well.
Okay.
And the lead singer Daniel is a big video game nerd. I've seen him on stage in like a classic NES t-shirt or a Sega Saturn t-shirt and stuff like that. So, and he posts video game memes, and when Zelda came out, he was all about it. And during the pandemic, he was playing Animal Crossing and stuff like that. So he's one of us. And
they did original really music for the game?
Yeah, it was all original compositions, like as the alien band.
Yeah, that's cool.
In Jedi Survivor. Yeah. So they're not Joywave songs. It's just like funky cantina music, but they're the band that composed and performed it.
Nice. That's interesting.
Yeah. So they're good. I would recommend them. Their first album is How Do You Feel? Second one is Content. The question answered is they're both really, really good and full of bangers. I would recommend.
I like that much more than like Hideo Kojima just putting a bunch of his favorite songs into Death Stranding at random points. Like, yeah, I wish he had just.
I like that too, but
I mean, yeah, there's merit, but like, it's cool if you get them to write something new for the game. That's fun.
Yeah. So that's Joywave. Any book recommendations? Who's that question from? That's from Deadly Gearhead as well. What was the last book I read? I read a really. This sounds weird in description because it is weird. I read a book called Whalefall that came out I think earlier this year, and it's kind of horror or sci-fi. It's about a guy who gets eaten by a whale, and it's obviously a little bit of Moby Dick, but it has like family trauma and it's like a survival thing, and it's like a lot. The entire book for the most part is his internal monologue as he's being eaten.
He's like in the whale.
He's in the whale.
He's like being digested. Like, how realistic is this?
Well, he's trying to avoid being digested.
Oh.
Yeah. He's trying to like get out of the whale.
Okay. It's like a Pinocchio situation. He's just like hanging out for a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, not sitting around a campfire or anything like that, but yeah. And like a ton of research went into like, is this possible? And it's definitely not. But like at the end of the book, there's footnotes about all the research that he did and all the like marine biologists he consulted about the physiology of a whale. And if it were possible, how would it happen and stuff like that. But it's, again, he's not talking to people or anything. It's all in his head as he's inside the beast. Mm-hmm. It's really good. It's super readable. It's not terribly long, but I buzzed through the entire thing on my Kindle on vacation within a couple of days. And I had just read that they're turning it into a movie, and I can't even imagine how that's possible.
Oh, no. It's going to be gross.
I'm sure, no doubt. I don't remember the author's name, and I apologize for that, but the book is called Whale Fall, one word. And I liked it. I would recommend it.
That sounds like something that happens in Death Stranding.
Yes, I can see that. That's the next Hideo Kojima joint. Yeah.
Death Stranding 2, Whale Fall.
Whale Fall, soundtrack by Churches. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, man, that does sound interesting.
Norman Reedus is the whale.
Oh, man, I can't wait. What was the most recent thing I read? I read Not No Reservations, Kitchen Confidential by Anthony Bourdain. Because I love Anthony Bourdain. I feel like the book was not really like it's very entertaining. So sure, read it. But the reason I like Anthony Bourdain is his CNN series, Parts Unknown, and I feel like the book is so different from that show because it's more like his background as a chef. And not the very philosophical, like traveling around the world thing. Sorry, I guess that's not a great recommendation. That's just the first thing that I've read recently. I haven't had a lot of time to read this year. But anyway, I mean, the reason I was reading that is because I wanted to, in fashion, I wanted to read this first, so I can move on to his other books that I'm hoping will be more like. A little more sort of like introspective, like Parts Unknown.
Do you typically prefer to read nonfiction? Is that usually like your default?
I'm kind of split on it.
I
just
never read
happens
nonfiction. It's like
you never read nonfiction.
No, and like every now and then, like a biography about somebody like interesting will come out, and I'm like, oh, that'd be a cool read, and I can't.
Yeah, maybe if there were like fairies in it or something.
Like no.
Yeah, I'm like maybe 50-50. I don't know. He has written, like, Anthony Bourdain's written a bunch of detective stories, or like he's done a bunch of fiction stuff too, which I thought was surprising.
Oh, really?
But
I didn't know that.
Yeah, but I don't know if I'm like, yeah, I really like the travel show he did, so let me read about his murder mysteries. I don't know. Maybe at some point I'll get into them, but. Not sure how to feel about that at this point.
Russ Greeno would like to know, is there any fetish you'd like to try but haven't?
Oh, man. Have we been drinking enough for this question?
Speaking of things I don't want to talk about on the internet. I
feel like we really, like, these were so mild. Like, what books do you like? Now it's like, what fetishes are you into?
It's a weird pivot, yeah.
Maybe I should have put this one later on that one.
I will. Pretty open-minded guy.
Take a minute.
Yeah, done some things in my life. Very few regrets. I will say though, I don't understand the foot thing.
No, I don't get the foot. I mean, okay,
like
I get it. Like, of course, that's somebody's thing. But it's kind of gross.
But it seems like it's a lot of people's things. Like it has become sort of like the socially acceptable weird fetish. Yeah. Like I don't get foot stuff at all. Yeah. Like it doesn't appeal to me. I've never wanted to participate in it in any capacity on either end. I don't want to be the foot
not judging. It's just not for you.
The appreciator. No. And that's sort of like, yeah, part of my worldview is I would never yuck somebody else's yum. And if that is your yum, good for you. But like,
they're making it work.
Yeah, not my thing. Yeah, but
okay. So just by process of elimination, anything but feet, you would be into.
I don't know if I would be into, but I would be open to.
Okay, all right. We're trying to go.
You don't know what you're into until you're into it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk offline, Russ.
Great. Yeah. Put some time on my calendar. We'll chat about it.
Right. Yep. Make sure we mark it private.
Oh, God. Yes. Foot discussion with Russ Greeno.
With Internet Stranger.
Yeah.
That's not true. We've known each other on the internet for a long time now. Ashton, number question.
Wait a minute.
Yep.
I didn't answer the question, which is...
Oh, you didn't? Sorry. Sorry.
I don't have an answer. I mean, I don't know.
No.
I feel like I'm very vanilla. I was kind of... I was a little disappointed in myself. I was like, I should have an answer for this. What is it? I don't know. Sorry to derail with a completely non-answer. The answer?
I've noticed that some of the other people who asked us questions answered their own question, but Russ did not.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Maybe that should be a requirement. It's like, don't ask something you're not willing to answer publicly.
Sure. Ashton's next question is, if you could go back in time and choose a different profession, what would it be and why?
Ooh. Another potentially deep question as we get into the end of the show here.
Let me pivot. Are you doing the thing that you thought you would do when you were a teenager? Did you look forward to some point in... Yeah, I'll answer Ashton's question, but like career-wise, and you said you just left your job, so you're not doing anything currently except like
That's right. Just Infinity Nikki 24/7,
wearing your best wig and drinking wine on the internet. But are you doing the thing as a kid that you thought you would do as an adult, or that you wanted to do as an adult?
Well, I think as a little kid, I wanted to be a policeman, which thank God that. I don't like that now for a lot of reasons, but for the longest time, my dream job was like probably a concept artist on a Final Fantasy game or Square Enix RPG, Squaresoft at the time, excuse me. And I ended up doing sort of like general graphic design / web design instead, and I feel pretty good about that. I feel like. Sure, I would probably, like in theory, I would love to be doing concept art, but man, in video games, I don't know. I don't think I want to work in video games. That sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah.
I feel like you gotta really, like, it just has to be your number one thing, because it just sounds like the worst. I mean, especially this year, we've had so many stories about the layoffs and game cancellations, like the whole Concord thing just sounds like a nightmare to me. Like those people were like clearly very passionate about what they are working on, and they just ended up having the worst possible outcome imaginable. And like even besides that, it just sounds like every year there's just so like countless horror stories about working in the video game industry. So I was like, I don't think it would be that. Like in an ideal world, if that was like a great job to have, and it was generally good to be working in video games, then maybe I would do that. But at this point, I'm almost relieved that I didn't end up doing that. Yeah. It's also very competitive, and I don't know if I would be up to it.
Yeah, I mean, if it was a cool job with like the perfect indie studio where nobody works more than 40 hours a week and sometimes works less, and
I mean, if you're asking like in an ideal world, like if anybody could have whatever job they wanted and they had perfect work-life balance and they paid all their bills on time, then sure, I would just be doing
churning out Madden games and working 100 hours a week.
Yeah, I mean, well, if your dream is to work on Madden games, then that's great. But yeah, if your dream is to work 100 hours a week, well, that's probably not healthy. But yeah, if you can like have the ideal version of that job, then I probably want that job. But I think real answer, in if I had to pick a different job in the world we currently live in, it would be like, I don't know if this is a cop-out because it's very similar to what I currently do. It would just be like a UX designer as opposed to a visual graphic designer, which is slightly more sort of like experience and functionality focused. I think I'd be slightly better at it, but I just don't have the experience. It's actually like I mentioned earlier, I recently left my job. It's actually been something I've sort of been looking at. Like maybe I should do this other thing instead. So I don't know. Maybe this is a very prescient question.
Yeah. The thing that I wanted to do when I was a teenager and thought I would do would be writing. I wanted to pursue journalism.
Oh.
And I went to college for creative writing and journalism. And by the time I graduated from college, journalism was kind of not really a thing anymore. like the internet had taken over and newspapers were shutting down, and there were two companies that owned every newspaper in the United States, and one of them was Amazon, and et cetera, et cetera. So by the time I was in a place where I was I could pursue that as a career path, it just didn't really exist as a thing anymore. Certainly there are still people who do good journalism and do good investigative journalism and writing and work and et cetera, but it is a very small crowd, and I think probably a very small audience that even consumes that at this point. I think people are very in their bubble, and content is created to feed that bubble, and that doesn't feel interesting or challenging to me. I like writing, but I've never found a way to pursue it as a career option. Unfortunately, mostly I just write good emails and Teams posts now. So no, if I could go back in time and kind of rewire my the years between me being 18 and 24, 25, that would be the thing that I would probably have pursued more aggressively if I had opportunities to. Yeah. And at this point in my life, if I could sort of rewire my career, I sort of did during COVID. I got laid off during COVID and then went back to work. And my goal was not to go back doing the same thing that I did. I worked in mall retail forever and ever, and was an area manager and retail director for a couple of different mall companies. And I just did not want to go back to work in the mall. So my question in 2020 was what do I do with the skill set? And I've been able to pursue a new path that uses a lot of those leadership things and team building things and, business guidance things, in a slightly different way, in a way that feels much more exciting and rewarding, I think, at this point in my life. So, I don't know if I feel like I'm necessarily doing my life's work, but I don't know that I would change it dramatically at this point. And some of that is evasive to not sort of show my business card or anything like that. But yeah, I kind of dig my job. It is a headache sometimes, but it's better than the thing I was doing 5 years ago.
Well, that's good. I mean, I feel like everybody's job is a headache, no matter how much you love your job.
Yeah.
So if you enjoy it for the most part,
right?
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Yes,
you do it for free. Yeah.
Yeah.
They have to pay you, otherwise you wouldn't do it. So, yeah.
Even if you do enjoy it that much, you should get them to pay you anyway. At least that's the hope.
Yeah. 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 And some of that is sort of understanding your value, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a friend who cuts hair, and she always wants to cut my hair for free on my birthday. And I'm like, no, this is your livelihood. Yeah.
Oh, I see. You insist on paying.
Yeah. I want to pay you for your service because you're good at this.
do you get the haircut? Do you let her pay for your, do you whatever I'm trying to say?
It is a fight every year. She wants to no, it's your birthday. And I'm like, no, this is a thing you get paid for. You feed your family with this. I'm not going to, I don't care if it's my birthday. Yeah. I can afford to get a haircut and you're good at it. So I want to pay you what you're worth.
What if you just give her a huge tip in the amount that whatever the haircut would cost?
Yeah. Yeah. I try to make it even eventually.
Yeah. Well, good for you.
Yeah.
But that's very nice.
Again, I have friends who are tattoo artists, and people always want to get free artwork out of tattoo artists, and I'm like, hell no. Know your value. Charge money for that shit.
Yeah, that's another thing.
If you're good at it,
yeah. If that's your job, it's nice that they want to give it to you free as a favor, but don't ask somebody since you're doing this anyway, maybe you feel like doing some work for me for free.
Yeah,
I don't know.
For exposure.
Yeah. For exposure. Yeah, right. Oh, man. Checking on the chat before we get back to the question.
Oh, yeah.
Eshin says, Eshin, I think, took a break and is back. Or joined later. He says, what are you drinking? I missed the intro. I'm drinking this nice, so I'm holding this up for the stream, this bottle of sake with this octopus on it. which is, I have to say, it's nice. I'm not a sake expert, as I was saying. Also, I don't know if you can see this on the stream. Mostly empty. I don't know how I feel about that.
You should feel accomplished.
I guess I'll take it.
And I am drinking, it's a beer from a brewery called Rusty Rail Brewing Company here in Pennsylvania. It is called Crunchbot. It's a caramel peanut imperial brown ale. It is like a bowl of peanut butter. Or a glass. It's a glass of peanut butter.
Glass of peanut butter.
Yeah. It's a little too intense on the peanut butter.
It's a little, okay. Stances change slightly.
But it is 9% alcohol, and I can tell.
Okay. That's the important part.
Russ wants to know if you guys had to swap lives, everything except your bodies, your homes, jobs, lovers, that's a gross word, pets, hobbies, parents, siblings, friends, enemies. How do you think you would cope? Any advice for the other person? Not a historical swap from birth, just your life right now.
It's true. Lover is the worst. Nobody should say that.
I have taken a lover.
I feel like yes, unless you're living in like 17th century England or something, you should not be saying that. Although Russ does live in England. Okay, maybe that's more of the vernacular over there.
It's got lovers and gentleman collars and yeah.
Yes. Okay, so sorry. I retract whatever I said for anybody living in the UK.
I mean, I admit DJ's life of wearing wigs and playing Infinity Nikki and drinking sake all day sounds super appealing to me right now.
So I'm not drinking all day. Come on.
I don't know. I don't know that I could do your job.
I don't have a job currently.
Yeah, when you had a job, I could not fake my way through it. Yeah. You seem like you have a nice life. You have a good family and a good, you always speak highly of like your relationship with your brother and your brother's family, and your parents are very involved in your life. And, yeah, you know, the oddity of our relationship is that we don't sort of like coexist in a shared space. Like we don't hang out at each other's houses and go to each other's birthday parties and stuff like that. So, but we've essentially run a business together for like 15 years. So it's a little odd. That we're not involved in each other's lives in that particular way, but no, you seem like you have a decent life, and it would be, I think it would be nice to swap. I don't think it would be. I would be miserable by any stretch.
Oh well, that's good. Well, that's very high praise. Somebody saying they would not be miserable in your life. That's very affirming, and I'm saying that as unironically as possible.
I mean, you have like I think you have a very different life from mine, and that
probably,
yeah. Like my job is very different from your job. I think my family dynamic is very different than your job.
Yeah. Well, as I was looking at this question, I was like, I don't think I could. I think it'd be rough doing like your job specifically because you're like kind of a people manager, do a lot of logistics, which I can't deal with it. maybe I don't know. Maybe I would like grow into it. You're also on the road a lot. Not necessarily like just being away from home, but just like you do a lot of driving. It's like you're literally on the road, and I'm just like I don't think I could do it.
Yeah.
It's
one of my favorite parts of the job. So.
Oh, you like that part?
I love that part. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, and I try to like I work from home, which is just like the dream to me.
I would lose my mind, I think.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe jobs not so compatible.
Yeah. I have like 1 or 2 days a week where I have to work from home because I have to get caught up. But those days are all like meeting, deadline. Yeah. And that is infuriating to me too. So I prefer to be like in the field, interacting with people, doing the big work. Yeah.
The thing that intrigues me about Russ's list is he says you would swap enemies. Do you have a lot of enemies that I should be concerned about? Like maybe a heads up that like maybe I shouldn't be outside on certain days. I don't know.
I don't. No, I don't think so.
No,
I'm certainly not aware of anybody in the world who wants to do me harm.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I have any enemies. For some reason, I've thought about this before. I was like, do I have enemies? No, I don't think so. I hope not.
Yeah. My mental illness is, in generally, I think people don't like me.
Oh.
I feel like I can be a lot, DJ. So I feel like we have an HR guy who, like, every time, like, is just totally different energy than mine. Like, is not a big laugher, doesn't necessarily find me funny. And anytime I have to interact with him, I feel like I have to sort of like be on my best behavior, like the most professional and grown up version of myself. And when I've recently had an interaction with him, he told me nice things, like, always enjoys our interactions and always sort of thought very highly of me and always gets good feedback about, from my team and stuff like that. And my first thought was like, dude, I thought you hated me. So
what?
Yeah,
we've run in, like, I mean, we've had this show going for the longest time, but we've been in a few online circles prior to this, and I feel like you've generally been well liked. I don't think I don't think you've had any enemies that I'm aware of.
Yeah,
but I don't think you have anything to worry about.
Yeah, quieter people, I think, don't know what to do with me.
Okay.
I have a friend's husband who is much quieter, a little more reserved. And I just feel like a spaz in his presence all the time. And I think that leads me to a place where I'm like, oh, Matt hates me.
Well, I mean, it's good that you're thinking about that, though. That shows that you're very empathetic.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think you're fine. I think you're doing all right.
I don't think he's my enemy by any stretch. Right? It doesn't keep me up at night, but
I'm wondering now, like, should I have enemies? Like, do people have enemies? Should I be working on that? Should I be trying to make enemies? I don't even know what I would do. How would I mean,
that's rough. Like, you kind of don't want to, like, live your life like just being everybody's friend. Like, it's quality over quantity, right? Like, I feel like you should have.
Well, I feel like you could be agreeable in general.
Yeah. You could, like, you don't want to be hard to work with, right? Like, right. DJ's impossible. I can't stand working with him. He doesn't, I can't ever get anything done.
I get very concerned about that. I'm just like, I like to think I'm easy to work with.
Hell yeah.
Do I have enemies? I don't know.
Yeah. That's my career advice. Like, I work with, like, young managers, young leaders, and they're, how do I get ahead? How do I, build connections? How do I be visible? And my advice is never be agreeable, but, like, my advice is always offer to help. How can I help? Like, if somebody tells you they're overwhelmed,
be agreeable.
Well, it's not necessarily about, like, sort of blanket being agreeable, but it's about, like, being a helper. Like, how can I take something off your plate? How can I help you get something done? How can I be of assistance?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Because then that puts you in a place where the next time something comes up where somebody's like, man, if only we had somebody nearby who could help solve this problem. And they go, Randy could solve this problem because he did it that last time. That's the kind of stuff I think, like, career-wise has worked out well for me. Like, generally when people, like, have projects. I worked for Hot Topic in the 90s and early 2000s, and they were opening 100 stores a year, and I was a general manager and assistant manager. And anytime, like, a new store opening came up or anything like that, I was like, I'll help. Let me help. I'll unload boxes. I'll set walls. I'll fold T-shirts, whatever you want me to do. And each of those things, anytime you say, yeah, absolutely, let me help, like, helps you get to the next thing and get to the next thing. And people start thinking of you as a person who gets things done or gets, like, solves problems for them. That I think has been very good for my professional career.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I mean, that's kind of how I approach things too. It's just like, I mean, my roles have traditionally been, or the teams I worked on have traditionally been very, like, understaffed. So a lot of people end up doing a lot of things that they were not necessarily hired to do. But my impulse is always like, yeah, I want to take care of as much of this as I can. I want to help as many people as I can. If somebody else is not able to do this thing, then maybe I can do this thing.
Yeah.
So,
and then that becomes your reputation, right? As DJ as a person who gets things done.
I hope so.
And people want to work with people like that. People want to employ a person like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I feel like everybody should have the same sort of mindset.
I would hope.
Yeah. Creed says the swap question is A+. All right. Nice job, Russ.
Good. Russ giving us the thinkers.
And Rabbit asks, why didn't Medley, that's me, invite you to his birthday party? Because I don't throw a birthday party for myself.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you would be on the list. I would invite you anyway. Like, I know you'd practically probably not going to make it, but I would just throw you a courtesy invite.
Yeah. Oh, well, that makes me feel weird now because I had a milestone birthday this year and invited a lot of people, but I didn't invite DJ because he lives a billion miles away, and I didn't think he would come.
No, I mean that's fine. Yeah, why would you? That's silly.
Yeah, it doesn't like. There's no part of me that thinks DJ doesn't want me to have a happy birthday.
You're just like, no, I won't come. In fact, I condemn your whole birthday party.
Exactly.
I hope it's the worst birthday you've ever had.
I hope it's the last one. Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, man.
Yep. Matt CD42 says, I forgot to put in my questions, but then he did. So, what game should I play next year?
Ooh.
Just
any
like
game?
2025
or like any 2025 game?
I don't know. What games am I looking forward to next year? I don't even have a list of that in my brain.
Slay the Spire 2.
Oh, yes. You should definitely. Yeah.
What is this question? Like, are you just looking for a game to play? Are you trying to decide which one of the games coming out last year? Because I feel like a year ago we were like, oh man, look at all these games that got pushed to 2025. And now I feel like they're just, it's all coming around. We got to make a decision. What's the one game you're going to play next year?
I mean, he doesn't really specify that it even has to be a 2025 release, but like, if I play one game next year, what should that game be?
Yeah, I don't know. So I can't tell if it's just like looking for a general recommendation or what one
Slay the
game.
Spire. Slay the Spire is really good.
Slay the Spire, yeah. It's fine.
It is not a new game, and it's probably the game I played the most this year. So, that's not true either. Actually, as I think about that, that's probably a lot.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
I played a lot of it this year, yeah.
Backlog Bomb, that's Russ Greeno, says just heading to bed now because it's 4 a.m. Thank you so much for joining in, Russ. We really appreciate it. And don't stay up too late.
Hopefully you don't have an early day tomorrow.
Great set of questions, by the way. 2025, Slay the Spire. What else is coming out next year? There's no way that Intergalactic, the Naughty Dog game, is out next year, right? That's just not possible.
Oh, I'm going to play that, though.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that I'm excited about because I was really like, I don't need The Last of Us 2. I've really enjoyed all of Naughty Dog's previous games. But I was like, it feels good to be excited about a Naughty Dog game again. But there's no way that's 2025, right?
Yeah. I don't know. Probably not. No. I mean, they were very clear about not sort of like specifying that. Although the footage they showed they said it was running on a PS5. So,
sure. Whatever that means. I mean, they do tend to work.
No one's ever lied in a video game trailer before.
I was like, I mean, that happens a lot, but like Naughty Dog is generally like they deliver. So we'll see how good it looks. Yeah. What games am I looking forward to? Like Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter should be pretty good. That's kind of a tough sell for some people. I like Slay the Spire 2. It's probably the right answer. Man, I was looking through. I did the whole thing where I like just stepped through the entire trailer, just looking for like what are they showing us? Like, what are these cards? What are the new cards going to be? And I felt like they were so careful to not like tip their hand too much about the new cards that are going to be in there. I was very disappointed.
Yeah. That trailer was great. That I'm excited about that. That's definitely
a lot of the stuff.
A very anticipated game for me.
Yeah. Most of the cards they showed were for the new character, and I was like, I don't know how this character works, so this is not helpful to me.
Yeah, it's the like skeleton guy, like I forget what they named him in it. Yeah, yes. It's like a necromancer or something, right?
Yeah, it looks like they've got a little like skeleton hand buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, yep. So I don't know. I wasn't ready to get that far into like the theory crafting. I was just like show me something new for the silent and they didn't offer a lot. So I don't know.
It is exciting that the OG characters from Slay the Spire 1 are coming back. I didn't know if it was going to be a total reset and you'd have 4 new heroes essentially. But it seems like there were a few they didn't name. They were question mark in the trailer. But it seems like at least 2 of the old ones are coming back with at least maybe 3 new characters.
3 new characters?
Yeah.
They showed the defect at one point. Did you catch that? They showed him like sort of dysfunctional and like deactivated kind of.
They did a quick sizzle of like each of the heroes, and I don't think they named him as one of the.
No, they didn't name him specifically, but they showed him.
Yeah.
And I was like that. I think you could just assume he's coming back, and I assume that the Watcher is also coming back because she's very popular.
Yeah. She was the add-on character, right? She was the new one that they...
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to have to watch that trailer again. I'm sure somebody on YouTube has done the, 17 things we learned from the new Slay the Spire 2 trailer. That's the one I need to watch, yeah.
There's a comment. Russ says something in the chat. It was a follow-up to the fetish question, which not going to read as part of the show, but everybody in the chat, everybody watching this live, that's for you to enjoy. Thank you very much for being part of this live experience. That's something you could just keep to yourselves.
Matt CD42 also wants to say, my son really likes games where he can just wander around like Goat Simulator or Farming Simulator. Are there any other good games like that?
Infinity Nikki, pretty good. Wander around, or so like. I've only played Goat Simulator a little bit. It looks like, or it sounds like, it sounds like they are just looking for something kind of open-ended, maybe web fishing? Do you need an objective? Like, Goat Simulator gives you things to do. There's like a lot of stuff you can do. And Farming Simulator, especially, I feel like there's like stuff you should be doing. Like, you're obligated to do things if you want to run your farm. But as far as just like wandering around, I don't know how chill they want this to be.
Yeah, I would worry about web fishing just because it's online. I think that has the potential to be toxic if you wander into the wrong room.
Yeah. I mean, depending, I don't know how old, don't know how old your son is, but yeah, definitely set up a private room for that if you're going to do that.
Yeah. I would recommend a short hike. There's some good wandering in that, and you have objectives, but you certainly don't have to do any of them. You can just kind of wander around and do stuff. You're in a park on a mountain. You're a cute little bird. You can glide and ride in boats and explore and talk to people if you want to and stuff like that. But like, there's no fail states, if I remember correctly, and the music is delightful, and it's just kind of like cute and meandering. Little gator game is fun. It's like Legend of Zelda, but you run around a park and like do make believe with your friends. You're a little alligator. That is super charming. What's the one, DJ, with the little girl in the Caribbean island? I think it's Caribbean island, and she's like taking pictures of birds and cleaning up trash and stuff like that.
Oh, Alba.
Alba.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
Alba's delightful. And definitely no fail states, and yeah, super charming, no pressure to get stuff done. And it's a big open world island where you just kind of wander around and like admire animals and run errands for people if you want to.
I support that answer. That's good. Yeah. Good recommendation.
I can stand by that.
Man, just like open-ended, open world stuff. For some reason, I was like, "Oh, maybe Death Stranding would be good." That's a little. That's questionable. Not the best advice, maybe. I don't know. I kind of want an answer to this question myself because sometimes I just want to like hang out online. You know, I just want to hang out in some world. Like unironically, that's something I really like about Infinity Nikki, where you're just like there's a main like quest line you can follow, but a lot of it also just seems to be sort of the Breath of the Wild style, like exploring the world and discovering things you can do. Maybe Breath of the Wild? Like, you don't really have to do anything in that if you're ignoring the main story.
Yeah.
I don't know what
Genshin
Impact is like these days, but
yeah,
I don't know about that.
A version of Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom where you could turn off all the enemies.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was actually thinking, like, for some reason, a lot of people in my, like, feeds have been talking about Death Stranding, and I was just like, I would love to revisit that, but just get rid of all the ghosts and all the weird, like, creepy stuff that stalks you.
Yeah.
So I'm totally in favor of more just wholesome open worlds.
What was the Assassin's Creed game that had the tourism mode?
Oh, yeah. Origins.
The ancient Egypt one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Assassin's Creed Origins.
Where you could turn off all the objectives and just sort of like look at the pyramids and things like that.
Yeah. Getting some good recommendations from chat. Says Red Dead Redemption 2 is fun just to explore. I could see that. Yeah. I didn't play Red Dead Redemption 2, but the first one, like, the world seemed really cool to just, like, hang out in and sort of explore. And then Obi Hyde says, try Chia. You played that, right?
Oh, yeah. I played Chia.
He says there are some enemies, but it sounds like there's probably other activities you can do.
Yeah. There's a ton of fun, like, exploration in that and, like navigation, like little boats and gliding and stuff like that to, like, explore other areas and little secrets you can fish out of the ocean, things like that. I like Chia. That was a really good game. I played a lot of that.
Mm. Good
call. Chia.
Yeah, I can't help think that whenever I hear that game.
And our last question of the evening is from Eshin. He says, how do I play Infinity Nikki without my friends thinking I'm strange? You should play whatever you want.
I think
that's what your friends think.
Yeah. I don't know if that's a cop-out answer, but I'm just like,
yeah,
maybe get some friends that don't judge what you like to do.
Let me show you my Animal Crossing island that I have curated for 500 plus hours. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of a lame answer. I don't know how to get your friends to accept you playing Infinity Nikki if that's something that they are not, like, it's something they don't think you should be doing. It's something they think is strange that you're doing.
Yeah.
But
I have a friend who loves professional wrestling.
Yeah.
I don't get it at all. I kind of don't respect it at all. But, like, it doesn't make me want to not be his friend. So, and it doesn't make me think he's strange. So I don't know.
You know what? I think I had similar thoughts about professional wrestling. I'm just like, I don't understand how anybody could be into this. It's like the stupidest thing. And then I went to, like, a Mexican wrestling match, and by the end of it, I was just like, okay, I get it. I'm into it. This is really good.
That's not the same thing, though. I
think it's the same thing. It's the same thing.
No,
it's absolutely the same thing. How is it different?
What's the thing in LA that's the Lucha Vavoom? It's the luchadors and they have the pinup girls and stuff like that. So it's like a burlesque / Mexican wrestling thing. Okay. And that was super fun. And, like, I totally get that. That's like a weird subculture thing. I don't know.
Like, I mean, and this is, like, getting away from the question originally, but I'm just thinking, like, if that's your opinion about professional wrestling, like WWE or whatever they call themselves these days, like, just go to one of these things. And I was surprised because I was so into it by the end. I was, like, cheering for because they've got, like, the villains and the hero personas. Sure. And I was just like, I get it now. It was good. I don't know if I would watch, like, WWE, but I can understand what people see in it, and it's sort of just, like, fun to follow along with the characters.
There are pop culture things that I know I won't be into. Harry Potter.
Like what? Harry Potter, sure, but not the best example.
Fast and the Furious movies.
Fast and the Furious. I felt the same way about Fast and the Furious until I watched a bunch of those, and I was like, okay, yeah, they're actually pretty good.
Yeah,
I like it,
but, like, that's like,
they're just stupid action movies.
Yeah. Well, it's the things that like I don't get the concept of like the hate watch. Like there's no part of me that sort of like feels like 2 hours of my life would be well spent like condescending to a Fast and the Furious movie.
No, I don't do the hate watch stuff.
Yeah.
Although I did watch Ready Player One.
See, I've never watched that, so
Yeah, not a good movie.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that book though, and I know that you're not a fan of that either. So yeah.
You should watch Fast and Furious. You should just force yourself to sit down and watch it.
But Ashton should play the things that he's into, and if that appeals to you in some way, and your friends will judge you for it, then so be it. Screw 'em.
Yes. Deadly
They inevitably have something they're into that you don't care for.
Yes. Deadly Gearhead says, "Are they really your friends?" which is like kind of harsh, but also like why are they so upset you're playing Infinity Nikki?
Yeah. I mean, I also don't have the expectation that my friends like everything I like sight unseen.
Yeah. I feel like, earlier when I was a younger man, I was all about like, oh, professional wrestling or like, oh, Fast and the Furious or whatever it is, like this is just below me. But now I'm just like, no, please tell me what you're into. And maybe I will learn why I should also be into it. Like, you gotta expand your horizons. You gotta be open to new things. And maybe it turns out you don't like it. Maybe you're just not into it. But now you know. And, like, what's the worst that could happen out of trying something new?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. I'm still not watching Fast and the Furious.
You should do it. Come on. gotta do it. I mean, you like James Bond movies, so they're basically the next generation of James Bond movies.
Get out of here.
You see, I was skeptical too, but now I'm just like, well, okay, so I haven't seen the latest one, but I was like, okay, they're pretty good.
It's funny, like they'll pop up on TNT sometimes, and I'm like, why is this person in this? Why is like Charlize Theron like is a real actor? Like, why are you in a Fast and the Furious movie?
Why not? Why can't she be in a Fast and the Furious movie? I bet they're so
real
fun.
Actor.
So they're not like real actors are not allowed to be in Fast and Furious. It's not a legitimate movie.
No, it's like Anthony Hopkins being in a Transformers movie.
Anthony Hopkins was in Mission Impossible 2.
He was also in a Transformers movie. So
was he really?
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Anthony Hopkins. I heard he just does stuff for the paycheck. I mean, like, amazing actor, but I don't know. I don't know.
Not a lot of discretion. Yeah.
I think like it probably looked like a fun movie to do, so she signed up for it.
Yeah. I mean, John Turturro is in those Transformers movies too, and he's also a real actor.
That's kind of weird. What does he do in the Transformers movies?
I don't know. I've never seen them, but I know he's in them.
Okay. Oh man, I've also never seen a Transformers movie. I feel like maybe I should start watching one.
I mean, I've seen the old. What was the one in the 80s? That was.
That doesn't count.
Yeah, Transformers the movie.
Yeah. The Michael Bay ones.
No, I've never seen any of those. There was like it was on one day, and it was like John Malkovich and John Turturro and Anthony Hopkins, and I'm like, oh, what is this movie?
Malkovich and them?
John Malkovich, and it was a Transformers movie. Yeah.
I bet it looked like a lot of fun. I bet John Malkovich was like, why shouldn't I be in a Transformers movie?
That's the minimum. What's the minimum amount of money you would take to kill somebody? What's the minimum amount of money you would take to be in a Transformers movie? And clearly, John Malkovich and John Turturro and Anthony Hopkins have a number. I
think it's probably a fun thing to work on. I mean, I've never been in a Transformers movie, so I couldn't tell you what the actual reality is like. But they can't all be like Shakespeare or whatever.
Yeah. Well, it's the things like I could see that. Like you go into it knowing you're not making art. Like there's no part of you like as a performer that has to like create art with this performance. You just have to get to the next giant robot shooting another giant robot scene.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you get to hang out with Megan
answer.
Fox or whoever's in those movies. I don't know who is at this point.
Yeah. I don't know if we answered Eshen's question, and I'm not sure if Eshen's question was sort of asked in good faith either, because I think I suspect if he wanted to play Infinity Nikki, he would just play it and not care what his friends think.
I think it's a concern. I think it's like a very different type of game that suddenly is getting a lot of traction with people, and people are like, should I be playing this game? What are my friends going to think? So I don't know what the answer to the question is, but I feel like, you know, you should just enjoy what you want to do. Yeah. Enjoy the things you're into and don't be embarrassed about it.
Right. Unless it's feet.
Yes. I mean, that's fine, but I don't need to hear about it.
But anyways. Yeah. Eshen, I know you played like a billion hours of Animal Crossing with me in 2020. So if your friends don't judge you harshly for that, then play Infinity Nikki. Who cares?
Yeah. I feel like Eshen just plays whatever he feels like anyway. Like every week there's some random thing. I'm just like really? Yeah. That's what you're playing? I'm just like, that's what he wants to do. So I'm totally in support.
Cool. Well, that was our last question. So thank you all for writing in. That was quite a collection of thought-provoking conversation starters. So we appreciate it immensely. Every year we get very worried that no one will write in and we won't have anything to talk about for 2.5 hours. Yes. But you guys never disappoint. So thank you. Yeah. We should wrap this thing up, though. If you need If you need any more video game hangover in your brain, you should follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/VGHangover. You can get show notes, links, and tell us what you thought about this episode at VGHangover.com. You can still donate to Extra Life. That is happening until December 31st. All of your donations between now and that day go to the amazing charities that we play for. So you can go to VGHangover.com/extralife. With your credit card in hand, and maybe make a donation. That would be lovely.
Yeah.
You can join us on Discord. You can hang out with us and chat about video games and whatever this free association insanity is that we're doing here. There's an internet version of that. Just go to VGHangover.com, look for the invite to our Discord. And we would implore you to subscribe, rate, and review us on your podcasting app of choice. We are on a lot of them. Spotify, man. We have a lot of people on Spotify who listen to the show. That's very exciting. We just got like a creator Spotify Wrapped that told us that there's a lot more Spotify people out there than I ever thought was possible. So if you're listening from Spotify, that's awesome. Make sure you subscribe and get all of our episodes.
Yeah.
And maybe help us out. Tell your friends about the show.
Tell your friends about the show. Randy was saying, it helps us out, helps us bring in new listeners. We really appreciate it. I feel like it's an easy thing to do. You know, your one friend who's always like, what podcasts are there? I feel like there are just no podcasts these days. Maybe tell them about VG Hangover.
How do I listen to Video Game Hangover without my friends thinking I'm strange?
Yes. Yeah. No, that's fine.
Yeah.
All right.
We're gonna do a holiday break. We're gonna take some time
how much
off,
money
right?
would it take for you to murder somebody? We said we'd come back to this. Are we down to $1 million yet? Is it less than $1 million?
It's definitely not less than $1 million.
Less than $1 million minimum.
Yeah.
I feel like I probably still wouldn't do it for $1 million, but I would set that as the minimum just to make sure they're serious.
Yeah. I mean, 500,000 would not even get you into the room.
Yes. Yeah. $500,000 just to have the meeting. Oh, maybe this is it. Maybe, you just collect money for the sit down.
Yeah. Every sort of like professional hitman movie I've ever seen, it's like half up front and half upon delivery. So maybe you just get the half up front, you just disappear.
Yeah, but don't they like hunt you down afterward? That I don't want to deal with that.
Maybe you're a very good hitman and you can be evasive and hide.
That sounds stressful.
It's a hard life out there for hitmen.
It is. Well, I mean, I don't want to be a hitman.
What else? We should tell people we're going to take a holiday break. We'll be gone for a few weeks. No new episodes in your feed, or will there be?
Or maybe, yes.
Just make sure. Yeah. Make sure you subscribe. There might be something in there to get you through the holiday period. But we will be back in early January, as I mentioned. And what else? Oh, DJ has a reminder for you.
Yes, I always have to remind people, and myself, to watch Awesome Games Done Quick, which is always in January. This year it's January 5th to the 12th. Amazing speed runs for charity. Usually it's either Doctors Without Borders or Prevent Cancer Foundation. Also just a lot of fun. This is another one of those things where you're like, I don't know what speedrunning is like. I don't know if I would watch that. just go to gamesdonequick.com. Find your favorite game on the schedule. They're inevitably playing it at some point. And just watch people destroy your favorite game. It's amazing. And it's for a good cause. It's very entertaining. It's actually in Pittsburgh this year. Are you going?
Oh, like there's an actual in-person version of it? No, probably not going.
Oh, okay. Well, it's in Pittsburgh if anybody's in the area.
Yeah. I didn't really have a sense of speedrunning until DJ started sharing this thing, and it usually gets some play in the Discord too. So if anybody's watching, typically they'll post, this is a fun game or this is an interesting game. I will usually look at the schedule and look for like games I like and games that I'm into and want to see people play them very fast.
Yes.
So that's super fun. Yeah. So gamesdonequick.com. Good recommendation.
Cool.
Yeah. So happy holidays to all. Thanks to everybody for listening this year. We will see you in 2025. We appreciate you immensely. Yeah. Until next time, until next year, this is Randy Dickinson.
This is DJ Ross.
Thanks for listening to Video Game Hangover. Goodbye.
Good night.
See ya.